Hello everyone, this is a very small looking tier list I just noticed because there's less tiers than normal. If you follow me on the Twitter website, which you can access through description link, I posted, let's say charitably last week, asking people for their most wanted death battle matchup with thumbnails, so I could just put them into a tier list without needing to ask permission from every single individual person. And this is what they gave me. I've tried to go with one per person. If I missed yours, that is either because I'm stupid, because it's a matchup we've already talked about in one of the more recent videos, or I just had absolutely no idea about anything to do with either character and didn't know them by appearance, didn't know them by name, didn't know them by franchise. So you can quite confidently say if I don't know a character, it's never getting on Death Battle. So I am joined here by my friend Joel Miller from The Last of Us. Say hello.
Pulsating alien light in the neighbor's yard.
Yup. I'd say that's as good a prompt off to go off as any. Would that pulsating light by any chance be Cooler versus Blackfire? I think her name is.
I sure fucking hope not. Those are two people I definitely would not want to meet in person in IRL.
You don't want to meet Cooler? You don't want Cooler to walk up to your house, pick you up, and go like, mmm. And that's all he says? That's the Cooler line.
Both of those characters are cool and all, but both of them are also like fucking barely in anything, and I don't think that fight, because it's like Cooler is his own guy. Blackfire's just mean Starfire.
So I guess
functionally, at least.
I was gonna explain the tiers, but you gave me too clean a transition into this. The tiers I've got are there's just 5 of them. There's all for it, which is yup, love this, perfect. There's Wouldn't Mind, which is it doesn't sound as nice, but it's just yeah, this is still cool, but it's not one that we have a huge stake in, or either of us might. Ambivalent is just don't know is, if you can't figure out what that means, then I'm not visiting you for your second birthday. And Not For Us, just to be nice, because this is people's most wanted. Don't want to go shitting completely on what they like. This is just matchups that aren't for us. We're just not fans, but if you like it, that's fine. Yep, I'm trying to be as nice as possible.
You're wrong. My opinion is fact.
Exactly. Anyway, I'm not big on Cooler Blackfire. I don't really know if Cooler needs a death battle. I know Blackfire doesn't. Cooler is definitely not death battle material, I think.
You think? You think so?
Yeah, I got a feeling that he would fit really well in an episode not death battle. Probably against a Pokemon of some kind.
I can see the vision.
You literally can. Alright. Speaking of which, the next one is Vision versus Red... No, I'm kidding. It's Ava Unit 1 versus Kiryu from Godzilla.
Yeah, speaking of Vision, I can't see the tier list, so you gotta walk me through it. Ava versus Kiryu,
So...
Not a bad matchup, but I feel like Kiryu already had a serviceable episode, I think. Yeah.
If they brought Mechagodzilla back, as much as Kiryu is by far my favorite one, I would like it to be a different one, probably Showa Mechagodzilla, because he's the next coolest. I think that would be neat to see. Especially, okay, you know Ultraman Classic slightly better than me, because I've not seen every episode. Just most of them. I don't know if you've actually seen all of them. I realize. I'm trying to remember.
I think we're on episode 25 or 26.
So I have seen more episodes than you. I'm trying to recall throughout Ultraman history. Is there a fake Ultraman that pretends to be Ultraman? Because that would be perfect.
Yeah, there is.
That versus Showa Mechagodzilla, and it starts looking like just Ultraman versus Godzilla, and then it just turns out nope, it's not. That was the fake ones the whole time. Because I didn't think that'd be funny.
I don't have them on me, but my Blu-ray sets that I have are the first 4, well, not first 4, I guess, because the first would include Ultra Q, Ultraman through Ultraman Ace. The Blu-ray sets come with like a little guide for the different monsters, and one of them in the original Ultraman series is just like an evil Ultraman.
Oh, Dark Ultraman.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure on him in general. I do not know if that episode's one I've. Because the thing with me with Ultraman is I've watched, I think all but like 2 episodes of the original of the classic series. I can't say original. And I remember fucking none of it really, because it was a while ago. But I just think it'd be funny. Anyway, I get Ava versus Kiryu. I kind of want to see Ava versus Wing Zero more. I wouldn't mind it though. I'm not against it. I'm not against this happening. It's definitely better than Ava versus Godzilla.
I would like Ava versus Wing Zero because I feel like Ava's one of those series that's gonna get on Death Battle at some point.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, technically, one of the 2 Gundam reps we've had is already from Gundam Wing,
Yeah.
but that episode's kind of weird.
Yeah, that episode is one of the more egregious examples of a character written completely out of character, which is funny. Because most people didn't watch Gundam. I think the reason the Epion was written that way is because like Ben just does not like Gundam Wing. Like I think that was just it. Like they just kind of made fun of him because they didn't like his show, which is it's a little fucked.
Yeah, which I mean, fair enough. Gundam Wing's not everybody's cup of tea, but I do think it has enough merit that it should get like a genuine episode. Also, earlier this year, I finally finished assembling my real grade Gundam Wing Zero, and he's pretty cool. And so I have some sort of stake in at least the design.
I think I've got a real grade Epion sitting around that I've not built. That's funny. Okay. The next one is Invincible versus Steven Universe. I have no stake in Steven Universe. I don't know anything about the show, really. Beyond like the stuff that I've learned through osmosis and videos online. Never watched it. Invincible.
I feel like Steven's episode is fine already. Invincible's another one of those characters that it's like there's no way he doesn't get on the show eventually. But like, I don't know. I don't think Steven needs to come back. I'm sure Invincible has other options that you could do something with. I know that Sam Alexander Nova is a big one. I know My Adventures with Superman Clark has been semi-popular recently.
To me, it's a matter of which boring matchup is Invincible going to get. I don't like any of his matchups at all, really. I guess this is the one I dislike the least because I don't know anything about Steven, but that's not really a crown anyone should be gunning for. Is the one that I am least negative on because it's the one I don't know anything about. That's not really an accolade. I don't like Gohan versus Invincible. I don't like Superboy versus Invincible. No one cares about Sam Alexander Nova. Straight up. That's just nobody has read a single comic with Sam Alexander in it. And
I've seen a couple shows with Sam Alexander in it, and so that's the version of Nova I know better, but I'm sure that's also not quite what he's like in the comics.
I would like to see, if they were going to do Nova, just give us Dick Ryder. Like, just do Nova. He's the guy. He has done a few cool things that I've seen in the comics. I mean, that's not a lot of things, to be honest. That's all I can say about him, but like,
for a long time, his big matchup was Hal Jordan.
Honestly, his matchup is still Green Lantern. It's just people want to see him versus Jon Stewart. Mostly because they think Jon Stewart is cooler than he is, because in the show, in Justice League Unlimited, Jon Stewart is fucking awesome. They think he's that cool in the comics. He's really not. And also they don't want to see Hal Jordan come back, which, you know what? Completely fair. I understand why maybe people would be a little apprehensive to Hal Jordan coming back to Death Battle. So yeah, I mean, go ahead with Nova versus Jon Stewart. It's Nova versus Green Lantern. This theme is pretty much, well, it's not exactly the same. Most of the theme is kind of lost with Jon Stewart, but the whole Nova core, Green Lantern core thing is still there. Don't need to see Sam Alexander. I don't need to see like Nova at home versus Invincible. I think there's one person I know who's knowledgeable on Sam Alexander's comics, and when I brought the match up to him, he said, "What? I mean, I get it, but people want to see Sam Alexander?" That was his reaction. So,
Yeah. Invincible versus Gohan feels like everything that it has going for it. Invincible versus Trunks has going for it, and then more just because like Mark's the whole like arc with Omni-Man is a way closer to Trunks is with Vegeta.
I mean, hey, technically, that's also probably a closer matchup. It doesn't mean anything because it's still not close at all. But I guess it would be neat to see.
Yeah,
'cause the thing with Trunks' actual episode is that anything that people know Trunks for is completely absent from the analysis of that episode. Like, everything that people know Trunks for is just not in it. So,
yeah, there's like at most a 1 or 2 minute rundown of like maybe a 1 minute or like 40-second rundown of like, here's the shit that he did in Z, and then here's everything that happened after that, which is the part that matters.
yeah, like Gohan, I don't think
Just
gets
like
name dropped. I don't
Trunks,
think Gohan even
Trunks
gets
came
name
from the
dropped.
future, fought the androids, went back, beat the androids, and now he's doing this.
Yeah. And as I just said, Gohan is not even name dropped in the episode, to my knowledge, which is kind of crazy. That's kind of crazy to think about. But
That's the same level of fucking Ace getting a whole episode and them not name dropping Whitebeard once.
yeah, there's I wonder that could be a video. Episodes where like a character has someone super important to their identity, their story, and their like challenges and what they go through that's just never mentioned at all. Like, just like imagine if
literally all of Ace's story to a point. Like, the Ace novels technically, I guess, take place before he joins Whitebeard's crew, but his entire presence within the mainline story of One Piece is intrinsically connected to Whitebeard and everything that happens around him, and they don't fucking name drop him in that episode, which is crazy to me.
I guess I should say then, as someone who's never read the manga or watched the anime or played the games, I had no idea Ace had anything to do with Whitebeard, and I have seen the death battle.
Whitebeard's face is literally on his back.
It is?
Yeah, Ace has a big tattoo on his back of Whitebeard's Jolly Roger, which is like a skull and crossbones, but the bones are like an actual cross instead of an X, and it's got like the big Whitebeard mustache going across it.
I didn't know that's what that was. I just thought it was something funny on his back. I mean, that's just
Whitebeard.
Like, in general, that's a very strange episode analysis-wise, because it's like this thing that's happened in the anime that everyone knows about. Spoiler alert. This gigantic plot twist that recontextualizes the entire story of Fairy Tail from the beginning all the way to the end, that has not been in the anime yet and won't for some time to come, and is literally the biggest mystery the entire story has been building up ever since Natsu and Gajil were incapable of leaving the barrier Lux has created. We're just gonna spoil that just off the bat. No spoiler alert, just immediately, bam, first thing they do is spoil the entire plot twist that all of Fairy Tail is building up to. Not to say it's a great plot twist, or that it makes sense, really, or that it's even that good of a story element, but come on. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, that's just weird to me. That's crazy to me. I don't think they've done anything like that since or before, though. Like, I guess with Clouds, they kind of did that. But at least, like, Final Fantasy VII is a very old game that everyone knows about, and everyone knows the plot twist. Fairy Tail had not gotten up to that point in its adaptation yet, and nobody was reading the manga.
Yeah,
no one cared.
the closest thing I can think of off the top of my head is that He-Man versus Lion-O spoils the end of Goku versus Superman for anyone that hadn't seen it.
Yeah, I remember that fucking Riz Grestar, when he did his reaction to He-Man Lion-O, I think that was before he watched Goku
Yeah, he's
Superman.
like, whoa, spoilers.
Yeah, he was like, what the fuck? Not in those words, he doesn't swear like that. That's me transcribing his words into Nemesis language, which is a lot
Into
of swearing.
Australian.
Yeah, fucking Australian, mate. He went, "Oh, what fuck? Oh, fucking hell, mate. What's going on there? What's wrong with you?"
I've gotten off topic. What's the next matchup?
Right, so Invincible, Steven Universe, it's not for me. The next one is Rick Grimes versus Joel Miller. Rick Grimes, obviously, from The Walking Dead. Joel Miller from The Last of Us. This is essentially Ellie versus Clementine, but if you don't want to see a couple children ripping each other to pieces.
Which, I mean, at this current point in the story, neither Ellie or Clementine are children. They're both adults.
Yeah, but that's not what they're known for. I like Joel. More
they're
than
teenagers, and it's like by that same merit, I didn't see anybody complaining about fucking Star versus Steven.
That's because people hate Steven Universe and Star Butterfly.
Or Killua versus Misaka, for that matter. Both Killua and Misaka are children. There's plenty of death battles where both characters are children.
That's because nobody fucking talked about Killua and Misaka at all. I think it's just like for a lot of people, they know Ellie and Clementine most of the parts of their story with their children, and those two stories are so grounded in terms of like the actual characters and what they're capable of, kind of. And that's what makes people uncomfortable, is that it's two very grounded, realistic sort of kids fighting to the death. That said, I like Joel more than Ellie. I can't say I like Rick more than Clementine. I think Clementine just has a better character arc, and Rick doesn't. That said, Rick Grimes has a whole epic rap battle on my channel, so I've got more attachment to him, I think. I would not be against him.
This matchup would have going for me is I would like to see them cover the Walking Dead comics, because that's a part of the franchise a lot of people just don't talk about.
That is a very good point, actually. Yeah, that is a very good point. Which I don't think they would really do with Clementine. But Rick's in those comics, unless I'm mistaken.
Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure in the comics, Rick ends up getting like a prosthetic hand, and he has like a hatchet and stuff that he carries around, and he's pretty neat.
I wouldn't mind seeing this as a live action episode. Like, I think this could be an interesting live action episode. Make it take place in like a mall. If they could get like a mall-like set, I don't think they would actually be able to rent out a whole mall to do it. This would be really cool to see in live. Am I the only one who thinks that? Because this feels like it'd be one of the easier ones to do if you actually had a set that worked, because it's just a guy with gun, good at survival, using whatever's around them to take out the other. You don't need to show the clickers or the walkers, you can just have them like hinted at. You can have the clicking sound in the background, have some shadows to reference that there's something else there that we can't see and they don't have the budget to show, to get that horror vibe across. That'd be really cool. And you couldn't do that with Ellie Clementine. One, because Clementine is, I mean, she might have shown up in something live action that I just don't know, but that's not really what she's known for. And also, I feel like it'd be easier to get just like two grown-ass white men as opposed to two teenagers capable of doing the role.
Yeah.
So yeah, honestly, I was going into this thinking I'd put this into ambivalent, but I think I'm going to put this at the top. I actually think I would really like this. Would you like to speak? You have my permission to English.
Yeah, well, I said I liked it.
Okay, so Luther Strode versus Rick Taylor. Now, I never see anyone talking about Luther Strode outside of the Versus community, and only in the context of him fighting Rick Taylor.
I mean, I've heard a little bit about him, but that's just because I've done enough like diving into indie comics and what kind of stuff people think are cool. And Luther Strode does seem neat. I don't know if he seems like, because I'm not sure what all Luther Strode gets up to. As I understand, he's like slightly superhuman, but Rick Taylor is well, he's the Splatterhouse guy.
Yeah, he's the Splatterhouse.
And he rips demons' intestines out through their assholes. He's kind of crazy like that.
I think
he's kind of quirky.
A visual standpoint, like this vibes pretty well. Just these two incredibly violent beefcakes just fucking tearing into each other, that there is an appeal to that. That you can't get with like Rick's other matchups. Because I mean, I guess you can do that with Jason, but like people who want Rick Taylor versus Jason, I don't know.
Yeah, hard meh. If anything, I would want, like, if you had to play into the slasher element of the character, Rick Taylor to fight someone else who's like a parody / homage to the slasher genre.
I think for Luther Rick, I have to put it in don't know just because neither of us has read Luther's comics. But it seems neat. Alright, we have Adam from Record of Ragnarok versus Azura from Azura's Wrath. If I'm not mistaken, this is
I get it.
two dads who really love their kids who punch gods.
Yeah, they punch the gods because they love their kids. It's cool and all. As I understand it, I mean, largely just due to the nature of how Record of Ragnarok is, Adam only has like one fight that he's relevant for. But like,
he'll probably get more.
I mean, there's that, and there's like,
yeah,
he'll probably get more. I'm sure.
I'm pretty sure he's just like revealed to not be dead at this point. Someone told me that.
Asura just has other opponents that I think are cooler. I think Asura just has better opponents.
I think Asura has more interesting. I will always be an Asura versus Clive Final Fantasy guy. I know no one cares about Final Fantasy 16 anymore. It's had its moment in the sun, and now it's being forgotten via the winds of time, so people can talk about Final Fantasy 7, 6, and 10 more again, and 15. Oh, sorry, 14. But you know, Asura Clive, that's the one for me. And if I'm
like Broly versus Asura. I think it's
Broly
cool.
Asura is neat. I think, like as I said, as a DBX, that would be really cool. I know there's a death battle. Again, they would composite Broly, and it would be. I don't want to see Super Broly versus Asura. I want to see an asshole Broly who is just the biggest dickhead of all time, doing everything he can in his power to piss off Asura. Because if you know Z Broly, you know that he would go out of his way to make him as angry as possible, having no idea what he's just done.
Yeah, this is the same motherfucker that looked Goku in his eyes and said, "How much do you love your son, Kakarot?"
I mean, just imagine like God Broly. I mean, he's not with God Broly versus Asura the Destructor. I mean, picture that. Would that not be kind of cool?
It would be, but then you have Asura versus a guy that took Goku fusing with the real world audience to beat.
Yes. I have no idea how you scale. Because I think that's like pre Trunks arc, isn't it? Like it is like clear uni scaling if you were to use it. At least ignoring the fact that, you know, Z Broly was in Heroes. So if you're gonna use everything, you might as well just give him that. And the fact that he just shows up at one point to kick the living crap out of Golden Freezer and Golden Cooler at the exact same time, and then leaves immediately after. That is just a funny moment to me. Oh, okay. He's glitching. So Donovan's becoming a robot. If you guys don't know, he's being cyberized by Shocker. He's being turned into a Kamen Rider Cloud. So I'm going to put Asura Adam into, I guess ambivalent, or I guess don't know for me, because I'm not super knowledgeable on Record of Ragnarok. But it seems neat visually. Not visually, like, conceptually. Visually, it's kind of a little weird. But, it's alright. Has the Donovan undone his cyberization? Or are we dealing with Sectorvin?
I'm not a Cloud.
Alright, so we're dealing with a matchup you can talk about. Ichigo versus Yusuke.
Ichigo versus Yusuke is pretty neat. It's got its thematics, it's got its fight potential, it's alright. I think Ichigo has fights that I think would be more interesting to watch, but I think Yusuke is not a bad shout, and it's definitely one of Yusuke's better. Before I died, I was talking about how Dark Broly from the Xeno franchise is a funny design. It's really fucking edgy for no reason.
It is amusing, yeah.
And how he like takes his big green energy ball, compresses it into a spear just to stab someone with it, which is so extra. But yeah, Yusuke versus Ichigo's all right. That's a solid wouldn't mind.
You say so extra. I was just talking about Biff about how there's a character in Fate Grand Order called Karma, and I never use her Avenger version because I just have no reason to when my wife is already an Avenger. And I decided to use her because she gets a bonus in the event. And I was talking to Biff about how I noticed that her big Noble Phantasm animation, which is her big super move, is basically just making a universe, putting you into it, and then blowing up the universe while you're in it. There is objectively no reason for her to do that. There is less than no reason for her to do that. But she just does it anyway. And what am I supposed to even say in response to seeing that? Like, why would you do that? Is there any reason you needed to do that? Just hit.
Supposed to say,
hit them with
wowie zowie.
Hit them with the kill move immediately. You don't need to make a universe just to put them in it and then blow them up with it. Like, damn. Okay. So the next matchup is Super Brains versus Super Monkey. I like this one.
It sounds pretty silly. I'm not opposed to it. I haven't played any balloons, but I like Plants vs. Zombies well enough.
You were glitching, but I got enough of that. You said you don't play balloons, but you like PvZ well enough. I'm putting it at the top as a fan of both.
Yeah.
And I would like to see Death Battle analyze both, because I think it'd be really amusing. We have 2 in every category except for Ambivalent, which is more balanced than normal for us. Usually we either complain a lot or we're unnecessarily positive.
Tonight, and the reason I'm glitching is because my internet decided it was going to die on the night we were free to record this.
So he was glitching there, but if you couldn't hear what he was saying, I'll try to transcribe it. He said the reason that he's glitching out is because his internet decided to just die.
Yeah, on the night we're finally free to record, my internet decided it didn't want to live no more.
Yep, now that we're finally free to record, his internet decided that it didn't want to work. I'm glitching. Just brainly. So we have Nagisa Shiota from Assassination Classroom versus Takaku Azuma, I believe, from Akuma no Riddle. I do not know Akuma no Riddle at all. This seems neat. I like Nagisa. If I was to get an S-Class character, it would be Koro Sensei. My second choice would be Kama. My third choice would be Karasuma. And then after that, I'd probably choose Nagisa. But I just have to put this in.
I like Assassination Clash, but I really like Nagisa as a character. I don't think Nagisa brings much to a death battle that's particularly interesting.
Yeah, I agree. Actually,
I think a big part of it too is just that most of the equipment Nagisa is notable for having is anti-Koro Sensei equipment and isn't like especially notable against normal opponents.
Yeah.
It was nice to the princess to invite us to her party, hey, Luigi.
Are you okay there?
I think so, unless I'm not.
Are you?
As far as I know.
Okay. I was gonna say I think about it. Itana Horebe would be my 4th choice actually. Then my 5th choice would be Nagisa. I forgot about Itana. He would be up there before Nagisa. I think he'd be cool to see. Okay, another one that I don't know much about, but you know I got to put some here that I don't know. Not only so we can use the don't know tier, but also because maybe you know them, and maybe you've been like, I want to match up for this character, and I don't know who that is, but that seems neat. I'll go explore that myself. This is Sailor Mercury versus Tekna from Winx Club. I don't know Winx Club at all, beyond knowing that a few people in the verse community like it. I know who Sailor Mercury is. I know what Mercury is. And I know what a sailor is, and I do know what Popeye would look like if he punched Mercury. So that is my knowledge of a Sailor Mercury. Just don't know Tekna. I don't even know if I'm saying the name right.
It's been a really fucking long time since I've watched anything Winx Club.
Oh, we
But
found
I
a Winx
remember when
Club
I
fan.
watched it seemed pretty neat.
We found a Winx Club
Yeah,
fan, everyone.
Winx Club acquaintance, I think is a fairer assessment. Because again, it's been a
Old
very long time
friends,
since I've seen any,
an
and it
old
was like
friend seeing
it
Winx
was
Club and
when
be
it
like,
came on
ah,
TV.
my pal. Okay, we have an absolute banger, but before that, we have Proto Man versus E123 Omega, which I do get. I understand this one. I get it. They were made by a guy, and they're not exactly fond of that guy, and they are robots, and they are red. I
Yeah, I
you
mean,
could accuse Omega of being like a big brother to Shadow if you wanted to. I don't know why you would do that, but you could make that accusation. Um,
well, that wouldn't make
I
any
wouldn't.
sense because
I would say
Shadow's
little
older.
brother, but then like Omega has more big brother energy than Shadow. Shadow has no energy in that field. Like Omega is constantly
Yeah, I
condescending and
mean,
talking down to his teammates and like just being a douchebag while also being their friend. I do like Omega. Like I do like Omega. Would I want to
issue
see
is that
Omega in a
he's
death
not
match?
like. I feel like his biggest issue is that he's not like enough of like a big presence as far as being one of the main characters. But
Yeah.
at the same time, that is literally every Mega Man fan's biggest problem with Proto Man is that they fucking don't put him in anything.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, yeah. Because Proto Man's really cool in every. I guess that's the thing with Omega too. They're really cool when they get to do stuff. When they get to do stuff, that's the problem though.
It's a connection. It's thematic.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if anything, I'm probably ambivalent to this one. I'm not against it. I wouldn't exactly say I want it, but eh, it's all right. But now we've gotten past that. We got a banger. We have Kamen Rider Decade versus Gokai Red. I mean, does anything need to be said here?
Yeah, a few things need to be said because I don't know if I've made it clear in a video on this channel yet that I just recently finished watching Gokaiger,
Well,
and
of course not.
it's
We've not recorded
potentially
everything.
my favorite Goku thing I've seen.
We've not recorded anything since you finished that. Of course, that's not been brought up yet. Idiot.
Yeah.
You just finished it.
But yeah, I really really like Gokaiger, and most of the other things that I've seen Gokaiger in as well. Uh, I'm all for seeing Captain Marvelous on the show. Tsukasa seems pretty funny. I'm not as informed on Decade, but what I've seen him in, he's also seems pretty cool. And this is definitely, I think, the Writer versus Sentai matchup that if there needs to be one on Death Battle, I think this should be
Yeah.
it because like the whole point of these characters is representing the entire franchise.
Yeah, and like you can do like, what was the Geo matchup? There was like a Sentai to match Geo.
Zenkaiger would be the Zeo
Yeah,
matchup.
but I just feel like there's more to like there's more legacy with Decade and Gokai Red. Like there's more to it.
Yeah,
It was hyped up. It was
especially
brought
the
up a
fact
lot.
that like yeah, Toei themselves see the rivalry between them, and I think that's a big testament to it.
I've said before. I just really like the contrast of how Gokai Red is incredibly flashy. Obviously, he's known for being showy. He goes out of his way to do all the poses of the other Sentais. Decade, meanwhile, doesn't give a single shit and will not even pretend to care about emulating the body language of any Kamen Rider he turns into. He could not possibly care less about becoming Agito and acting like Agito. It's just a power up for him. He does not care about you. You are not his friend. I just like
Like
that.
for for as different as that part of those parts of like their character are, they're also both just so eccentric.
They are fucking weirdos.
Like one of my favorite Tsukasa moments is they're at the fruit bar that they hang out in Gaim during Showa versus Heisei, and Decade comes out with like a fucking parfait or like sundae that he
Yeah,
made
yeah.
himself to look like Kamen Rider Decade.
just like his own face as his dessert. Why do you need to do that? I don't know. I don't know why he's gonna do that. I mean, that's not a good film for him.
Because it's awesome.
That's not a good film for him because he just gets his shit kicked in, like more than usual. For Decade, that's maybe his worst showing. And he's not even like top 5 worst showings of a character in that film.
Yeah, Tyson 1, I feel like, is also not the best show. I mean, like, the plan in that movie, for as fucking nonsense as it is pretty in line with the kind of goofy shit that Marvelous and Tsukasa would come up with. But, like, God, Tsukasa's hair in that movie is so fucking bad.
Yeah. Would Marvelous even come up with that? Because I feel like it's not a particularly flashy or showy plan. I think it's a very low-key plan.
I mean, fucking completely overthrowing all of the villains and then taking control of an entire fleet of every villain whose ass you've kicked up to that point is fairly showy. And then the whole, like, I feel like the biggest part that doesn't fit in line with Marvelous is the betraying his friends, which obviously he wasn't actually doing, but they do kind of bring it around with all of the other Gokaijus. All the other Gokaijus are characterized pretty well in that movie, and then they react pretty accordingly to how fucking stupid his plan was and how it didn't make sense. The biggest issue with the Gokaijus in that movie is that fucking Guy just isn't in most of it.
I remember. There's not a lot of him. It was a shame because he's probably my favorite of them, though I've not seen the actual show itself. So
yeah. Because Guy is one of the... Because, like, the only ones that are left behind are Joe and Doc, because Luca, Im, and Guy all get turned into purple, and then Marvelous is being fake evil.
Yeah, and then those two...
This isn't even the only time Decade has just decided to be a villain.
No. I think it's so weird that Decade's... Like, the whole thing with Decade is he does not give a shit what you tell him to do. But then, like the ending of his story is just someone told him to be bad and he immediately agreed to do it. Like, excuse me? You want to run that by me one more time? I can't wait to get to Decade. Partially because it's like the second shortest writer show of them all. But also because I'm so curious. I've got a bit to go, though. I've got to finish the last 10 episodes of Skyrider.
Gotta get through 5. You have to watch 5.
I know.
You can't skip it.
I know. I mean, I do need to get through 5 because I really want to watch Blade and Kabuto. I have a passing interest in Deno as well. But I got to finish Skyrider off. Not much left of that. But then I got to watch Super 1, which is another show like Blade and Drive where nobody in the West ever fucking talks about it ever. Unless they bring up the very specific thing that the dickhead who plays the main character does. Then I gotta get through Black, which is like the popular one that's not Amazon from the Showa era. And then I gotta watch Black RX, which is the one that people also know exists. Then I gotta get through Fires, which is the one that nobody talks about.
I have a little Deno on my shelf.
I
have a normal size Deno on my shelf. I have a little Hongo on my shelf. He's got what the fuck? What's the villain in the original Kamen Rider that looks like a pharaoh? He's got like the pharaoh headdress.
Ambassador Hell.
Yeah, there's a little version of him inside for some reason.
He's a
pencil.
If I'm not wrong, a Cobra Man sort of deal. Like he's a snake, a Viper Man. All the 4 generals like of the original series all have like something going on. Like Colonel Zol's a werewolf, your favorite. Fucking Dr. Shinigami was meant to be a shark man, but then he was a squid. He was just a squid. And like if you're wondering how did that happen, then boy, I got something to tell you, Don. I don't know. I don't know why he became Ika Devil. He just was. Ambassador Hell's like a Viper guy.
You can make squid puns later.
And then General Black's a chameleon. And Dr. Ge, which is the Kamen Rider D3 guy, he's a crab.
Crab laser.
Yep, your favorite, the guy who is a crab and shoots lasers and would have fucking won against all of the riders if he that Tyson if he didn't see their mirrors and then decide to shoot them for some reason, and also would have lost if any of them remembered they have fucking guns and shit. I mean, one of the guys fighting him was Decade, the guy whose main weapon is also a gun.
See, I think that's why Marvelous is cooler, is that he gets to dual wield his gun and his sword, and they can both act as a melee and a projectile. Where Decade has to turn his gun into a sword.
Yeah.
That and Marvelous, as I understand, is just a more well-liked character from a much better season of their respective shows.
I just want to note that the villain that requires them to team up to take down when like during the big battle is fucking General Shadow from Kamen Rider Stronger. I really like General Shadow despite his fucking horrendous looking face. But it's just so funny to me that the guy turns himself into a giant playing card, just throws himself at them, and they're like, oh shit, this is the guy that's gonna require the team up to take down. This guy means business. This giant fucking ace of diamonds means business.
Well, yeah.
Of course. Yeah, why wouldn't he? Alright, so we can move on from that. We said our piece a little more than I expected. We have Skipper versus Perry the Platypus. I like this one. This is a silly one, but I like it.
Yeah, it's neat. I'm not against it. I think it would be really funny if they managed to get a little segment of Doofenshmirtz in there with actual Dan Povenmire, because he does collaborations with people on YouTube and TikTok all the time. So I'm sure if they reached out, they could get a hold of him.
I'm gonna put it at the top just because I think it'd be funny, just so funny. Then we have Mr. Beast versus Dexter Morgan.
Hell yeah.
Big Jimmy versus Dexter fan in here. Don's favorite.
Yeah. Jimmy versus Dexter is a fun matchup. I like it well enough. I've got a couple of friends that are pretty into it. KJ Arts is into it. She's pretty cool. I still want to see the fucking RoboCop versus Terminator next time trailer version. With the fucking dun 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 with fucking Mr. Beast and Dexter Morgan.
If Death Battle comes back and does Jimmy versus Dexter, I will do Mr. Beast versus Dexter Morgan. Will I take it seriously? Fuck no, but I will do it. Alright. The next one we have...
It would be so awesome.
Alright. The next one we have is Garland versus Orsted. Not super sure if that's how it's said. I don't know if it's pronounced like the actual phrase. It's a guy from Live Alive, I think. But yep.
Not a series I'm terribly familiar with, but Garland is Final Fantasy representation outside of 7, so
That's
I'm
true.
for
and
it.
He's a cool character. Mostly because, like, Garland's not much in the original game, aside from, like, he's cool as a first boss, and he's cool to reveal that he's the main villain. But he's just such a titanic dickhead in Dissidia. And that's the Garland I know and love. Is just, like, the biggest dickhead in the cast. That is saying something. Given you have, like, Jekt there, whose entire deal is that he's not a bad guy, but he tries to act like the biggest dickhead around. He's being out-dickheaded by Garland here. Sephiroth wishes he could be a dickhead this throbbing. Kefka's a clown, but not inherently this much of a dickhead. Even Kuja can't dickhead as big as Garland can. Like, he is a titanic dickhead, and that is incredibly entertaining. I would like to know...
But I thought Kuja was a superhero. He's the Beetle guy.
Yeah, No Fear, No Pain, Kamen Rider Kuja. But
No
I want to know,
fear,
why is
no
Garland
pain.
fighting a measurement of magnetic field strength? Like, is there a reason Orsted is named that? Is his magnetism his deal? Or is he named after, like, Hans
The
Christian
master of
specifically?
magnetism.
Like, is he named after Hans Christian specifically? And he's, like, some, like, character based on Hans Christian Orsted and Hans Christian Andersen? Probably not. That's a connection only I would make, but that would be a really funny character to make. Is just a fusion of two guys completely unrelated, except that their names are Hans Christian, and going, there you go, magnetic story guy. That's your prompt. There's your character. Anyway, I don't know Orsted, so don't know. And now moving on to someone that I know significantly better. Do you believe me when I say that?
I mean, yeah, I'll believe you, but I can't attest because, again, I'm not real, so I can't see it.
Well, no, I'm lying. It's Satsuki Kiryu, who I do know well, versus Tsubasa from Symphogear. I do not know you.
The only thing I know about Symphogear to this day is that Gamera's in it, which is pretty based.
Yeah, yeah. All right, we have okay. Don, I need you to be nice to this one. We have Ash Greninja versus Ninja Trained Siegfried from Animal Kaiser. I think it's called. I had to look it up to make sure I was getting the name right, but hopefully I'm remembering correctly and it's not like Animal something else.
I will not be nice to this one, actually.
So Siegfried looks cool. He is a tiger who is a ninja. That's cool. I like that. I don't know Animal Kaiser.
Fucking most of Greninja's matchups are just an animal that's a ninja.
No, most of them are frog. And by that I just mean Rano. When I say most of. So one of is just frog.
I know he's got some fucking Yokai Watch matchup. Because the last video we made, people were talking about, Greninja has all these matchups right here. Why did you guys say you didn't really want to see them? I'm like, well, because obviously we fucking don't care about those matchups. Like,
yeah.
What? This is a subjective video about our opinions of which matchups we want to see. Like,
let me just say,
like, if you like them, that's cool, but don't be like, oh, you forgot these.
If I wanted a random Pokemon episode, and I guess I'll add to this, if I also wanted a random Monster Hunter creature episode, it's gonna be Guzzlord versus Deviljho. Do that, Death Battle, because that is so funny to me. So devastatingly hilarious. I'll watch it 10 times on release day. 10 times. Maybe 20. He's dying.
Versus Tyrannomon.
Okay,
that one's funny.
What was that?
Rhydon versus Tyrannomon.
That you know what? That's pretty funny. I remember that. You brought that up a long while back. It's like there's like the first. It was like the first design.
Yeah, it's been
like it wasn't like the first design Digimon, the first design Pokemon, something like that.
Yeah, that and like I think they just play off each other pretty well. They've got a similar shape, a similar vibe. They're pretty cool.
But no, Don, this is not a random Greninja though. This is Ash's Greninja. I mean, I imagine.
I know.
I imagine
this is
it's
my
not
least favorite Greninja.
I imagine it's not just a random Greninja with Battle Bond. I have to imagine it's specifically Ash's.
I already don't like Greninja, but then like I don't like Ash either.
All right, Greninja fans, I have not made the situation better apparently.
Greninja fans, it's his fault. Be mean to him about it. He did it.
No, Malaiton, be quiet. I'll put this in don't know to be nice, and also because I don't know anything about this Siegfried thing. I like it, just visually. Glowing blue tiger that's a ninja, that's cool. It's cooler than Greninja. Because, like, this is no fancy design. This is just a normal fucking tiger. And something about that being a ninja is so much funnier to me than an anthropomorphic animal that barely looks like an animal. And kind of looks like a person with animal features.
And Frogadier were so peak. Why did Greninja have to do what it did?
No, imagine if Greninja just looked like a completely normal frog. but was a ninja, and you're supposed to just accept that, and they never try to explain it. How funny would that be? It's like, this is a
That'd be
normal
funny.
frog that's blue.
Imagine if Greninja was still blue and still had the yellow eyes and still had the bubble
But hold on,
motif
hold on,
and it
hold on,
didn't
hold
have a
on.
big fucking
Dun dun dun
doofy
dun
tongue
dun dun
scarf.
dun. He is still blue.
No.
You mean the right shade of blue, like the same shade of blue, not a completely unrelated shade.
Well, I mean, there was dark blue on Frogadier, like the cape being dark blue and spreading out into the problem. It's the fact that they swapped his light blue for beige.
And also,
And then they added pink, and now his design is all messy. Yeah. The tongue scarf is silly, but I miss the bubbles. Give me the bubbles back. Fuck you,
such a slimy neck. Like, if you had an unconscious ninja and you're like,
or a really, really dry tongue.
Or a really dry tongue, yeah. Just like a cat tongue. Just feels like sandpaper. Alright, we have...
Oh, do we?
We have George Jetson versus Fry for Futurama.
Fuck you. Whoever sent this in, you are not a George Jetson fan. Whoever sent this in, to fucking give me your top 3 in the comments right fucking now under this video. Give me your top 3 George Jetson moments. What are your top 3 favorite things? What are your top 3 favorite things George Jetson can do? Name me some feats. Show me a couple of abilities. Tell me his best moments. Fucking name the plot of a single Jetsons episode. I defy you.
I'm gonna fucking die. Why is this so funny to me? It's not even a good joke. It's just... My brain is so broken.
Fuck George Jetson.
George Jetson is just really funny. Just like... He just is funny. Just on concept. Nothing he does, nothing he says, his catchphrase. Nothing about him is funny, except the fact that he exists.
What fucking catchphrase?
Oh god. It's, he has one. It's like an attempt to be Yabba Dabba Doo, but without being Yabba Dabba Doo.
In the comments, tell us what George Jetson's catchphrase is. Wrong answers only.
Yeah, it's not stop this crazy thing. I know people like to say it's James, stop this. That's not it. That's not his catchphrase. It's like Hooby Dooby, something like that. It's like Hooby Dooby, some shit like that.
When I'm in a having shitty catchphrases competition and my opponent's a Hanna-Barbera character.
Oh, if you got a problem with Yabba Dabba Doo, that's so good though. It makes so much sense.
Yabba Dabba Doo's fine. Yippee Yappy Yahooey is the most irritating shit in the world. All 2 people that are gonna get that reference watching this video know exactly what I'm talking about. Yippee Yappy Yahooey is the fucking abyss of Hanna-Barbera cartoons.
I mean, I hate to tell you, but that kind of just sounds like a Kamen Rider Wizard Henshin sound. Yibby yabby yabby.
Henshin, yippee yappy yahooey.
Touch the Henshin. Instead of say please, it's say literally anything from that show that you remember in the comments. I dare you. That's what the belt says.
Give me your favorite Jetsons. But if there are any bona fide Jetsons fans in the comments, you're banned. You're not allowed to comment here anymore.
So you know, not for me. Not for me. Nah, I'm not feeling it, but it's funny. Oh my god!
Don't ever insult my goat Philip J. Fry like that again.
His name's Philip. What? I don't know. His name is just fucking Philip.
Yeah.
That's kind of based, actually. All right, we have. Oh
Philip
wow.
J. Fry. I'm pretty sure he's from like the 90s or the 2000s. He gets frozen and goes to the future. If you don't know the plot of Futurama.
I know that.
Like he's just a normal dude.
I know. He's in love with a Cyclops or something. So.
Yeah, Leela.
Of all the franchises you expected to be on here multiple times, I'm sure one of them was not Winx Club, because we have Princess Bloom from Winx Club versus Will Vandam from Witch. said with all the confidence I got. So you gotta know where
I'm
this is gonna
not
end
sure. I'm
up.
not sure who the second character is, but Bloom is neat, and I'm all for Winx Club for the people who want it. So sure, why
This is
not?
another this one I'm gonna put up because like unlike with Tekna, who I don't know you at all, like just like I don't know Princess Bloom. Difference is I don't see any like intrigue in Sailor Mercury getting an episode. This one I'm gonna put up because I just think it'd be funny. It's never happening, but it'd be funny if it did. Speaking of kind of funny matchups, this is Virgil from Devil May Cry versus Princess Luna from My Little Pony. That's right, Princess Luna. That's her full name. Someone tell me what the fight's gonna
I'm
look
gonna
like.
have to say I don't.
Someone just
You.
like I get it. They are the sibling. They did go bad. There is a little difference in that the Nightmare Moon thing is such like a non-event, to be honest. Like she's not much of an anything, and then Luna is like immediately absolved of it, like in a couple seasons time, and it's like barely like it. She is definitely a better character than Celestia, which is saying I think objectively nothing. Comparatively, Virgil is just kind of an asshole. He's just kind of an asshole. He does care about
He's
Dante.
gonna start being awesome and cool, and then he's gonna be made to play Luna game, and he's gonna shit his pants.
It scares
He's
him
not
so
ready
much
for it.
that it unslicks his hair. That's actually the secret of the first time his hair ever went slick like that. Is he got jump scared by a cheap browser game, and he was like, "Wow, I really like how this looks," and just sort of kept it. That's the secret the whole time. No hair gel. Every time he wakes up in the morning, he just plays like a new jump scare browser game. That's how it happens.
Sure.
Anyway, I'm sorry, that one's not for me. As someone who's a fan of honestly both characters and really, really likes Devil May Cry, and so the next one we have is Mother Gothel, of all characters from Tangled, versus I don't know her name. It's like the witch thing from Into the Woods.
No.
What is that sound on?
No.
Is that an earthquake? Is that a vehicle?
What sound? Oh, is that my ceiling fan? Hold on.
Are you walking down the street right now? Because it just sounded like a truck passed you.
I'm not. That's either my ceiling fan or my chair. Hold on, let me.
Look, I know you're still upset about the Ronald versus Burger King incident, but can you not walk to a Wendy's in the middle of a recording?
What Ronald versus Burger King incident? What the fuck are you talking about?
Alright, so we have next Dr. Manhattan versus Richard Nixon. And for anyone who doesn't know what this matchup is, I'm going to let that sit for a bit before I tell you that it's Richard Nixon from Monument Mythos. Just because I want someone to not know what that is, to go, excuse me?
Yeah, I'm not inherently against the matchup, I don't think, but it's not one I have a personal stake in. I'm not a big fan of analog horror and its contemporaries in general.
Let me think about this. Because the only like analog horror I've really kept up with is Local 58, because it's very short and I like it a lot. Monument Mythos I have seen a bit of. I saw it season 1. Never got around to watching the rest of it. It's neat.
Analog horror, only 2 series have ever really caught me, and that's, like you said, Local 58, because when that came around, it hadn't exploded like it did, and like the stuff it was doing was pretty like fresh at the time, and it also got me with some stuff that plays into certain fears of mine that I enjoyed, and then the Man in the Suit Godzilla analog horror, which like. I like Godzilla.
That one is
simple as.
That one is like anti-horror to me because it's so funny. It's just so
funny.
By
its premise is so stupid, and then the shit happening in it is like, yeah, we couldn't get him to come out of the suit, and then he started biting people. He showed up in the street one day. This kid drew a fucked up picture of him, and it's like the stuff happening. It's like This isn't scary. This is just fucking
I
weird.
said
It's
it
like, why
before.
won't he come out of
There is
suit?
a genuinely great idea that you could do for a Godzilla analog horror if you had the budget, and that is just making videos that look like some person with a shitty camera from long in the past during Godzilla's like earliest attacks recorded their last moments during like a Godzilla rampage and making those as videos. That could be so good. No one's ever going to do that. No one's ever going to pick up that idea. But that would genuinely be a
Yeah,
great way to.
there's not even a whole movie about that. There's not even a whole found footage movie about a big kaiju showing up where the main character dies halfway through, and then you follow the rest of the crew. It doesn't even have sequels or anything. It's not even like really popular.
Yeah, it doesn't exist. It's definitely not an idea that could be expanded upon with other things. If it ever
If
happened,
you're a fan of
though,
kaiju media and you haven't seen Cloverfield, go watch it.
I'm just saying, do a Cloverfield-like thing, but it's like little short snippets of the last moments of people's lives during various Godzilla rampages, and don't make it just like one thing I really like about Local 58 is they didn't just keep it analog. Like as time went on, they implied something a lot more unsettling by the idea that this channel has kept up to date. It was not just an analog thing that was creepy like 10 centuries ago when TV was first invented. No. This has been going on till today. So it's not just analog horror, it's also like just the idea of a TV station that's still around. You can do that with this Godzilla idea too. Have some people with like modern cameras have like, this is an attack that happened in 2009. Here's an attack that happened in 97. Here's an attack that happened in fucking 1973. Here's a fucking attack from 1924. That you can do a lot of things. No one's gonna pick it up though. Partially because it would be very expensive to do, I think.
I think honestly something that like does a pretty effective job at like showing the aftermath and just like general wake of destruction is -1. I think -1 does a really good job with just like really selling how big of a fucking disaster Godzilla is.
Yeah, but like that's like a really that's a movie. That's completely different. That is a great movie though. Anyway,
Yeah. But local 58, the video that really strikes my fancy is I think it's called "You've Arrived at Your Destination," which is just like
GPS
dash cam footage.
Yeah. That's a good one. I mean,
dash cam footage. That one gets me because I have like a fucking horrible phobia of like driving at night through like very like narrow or like backroads paths that are just like all wooded on both sides and there's like just nothing in a straight shot for a while. Where it's like it's that specific atmosphere, like that specific setup that really fucking gets to me.
No, I understand. There was this one time I was escorting, or my family and I were escorting my grandmother to a plane station, and we got lost on the way back. It was very late, and we were just driving through this completely empty road, woods on both sides, and it was. I didn't like that. Especially
There's a few roads around here like that because for those who don't know, I live in the Appalachian Mountains, and so that's like what most of the environment around here is like. If anyone in the audience is a Wendigoon fan, I live in like the same like area of the United States that he's from, and so when he talks about his experiences like camping and through the woods and stuff, I've experienced a lot of that stuff. And speaking of, there's a story my friend has where he was going to go visit his stepmom. They were out like camping for someone's birthday, and she had sent him like their GPS thing through like Apple Maps, and he went to go follow it, and then it took him down like this back road towards like the camping site, and then he got all the way down until he was at this gate, and then it told him to stop the car and then get out and walk the rest of the way because he couldn't drive there, which is so fucking creepy, especially because it was like pitch black outside. It was like the dead of night, and so obviously he decided not to do that, and so he called his stepmom and asked her like where the location was. He was like 20 minutes out from where they were. Like the location it gave him on the map was just wrong, And so he turned around and ended up, getting to the place he needed to be. But it's like that's so fucking weird. I don't know what would cause
He
that, and that's such a strange thing for like a navigation app to ask you to do.
he straight up just dodged the bullet of being in a shitty 2010s ghost movie. Straight up. That's the bullet that was
Have,
dodged just there.
have I? Yeah, have I told you about like not this last weekend, but the weekend before that? I went out. I went south, I think, a little bit, and I went to this mall that is built like the fucking back rooms. I'll send you some fucking like videos and pictures I took of it later. But there's a picture I'll send you, and you can put it up in a video if you want. Of we were driving home from where we had went and saw this building with the creepiest looking rabbit mascot on the front. And I was like, that was horrible. What was that? And my friend was like, turn around, let's go look at it. I'm like, yeah, okay. And so we turn around, we drive up to it. Not even attached to the building, propped up against the side of it, is this red sign that says pizza, like on the ground, leaned against the building, which is already a really weird sign. Um, and I'm like, okay, so fucking creepy ass, rundown looking, like small restaurant says pizza on the side, a rabbit mascot. This is Fredbear's Family Diner. That's what this is. And they were closed that day, and like just the look of it, everything was so small you couldn't really see into the building, and it wasn't open until Tuesday that week. And I was like, this is a murder place. This is a murder place. And especially given that we had just come out of the back rooms when we were headed that way, it was so funny that we immediately found like fucking a Freddy Fazbear's location right after.
Are you sure you don't live in an analog horror, Don?
I might. I
Have
just
you ever
might.
looked
There
up
was
the
that one
Donovan
episode we
files?
did of
Someone
one of
look
these
up the
ranking
Donovan
videos
files.
where
See
I
if
got
that
abducted
exists.
by aliens.
Okay. What an interesting... What a story, Mark.
What's the next matchup?
Boy howdy, it's Shao Kahn versus Gargos.
No.
I'm just not... I just don't want to see Kahn. That's it. I just don't want to see Kahn again.
Yeah, I don't fucking like Shao Kahn at all, and we've also already seen him twice. And I mean, for when it came out, Shao Kahn versus Bison is not a terrible episode. It's got its funny moments. I don't like Akuma versus Shao Kahn at all. And I don't fucking like again Shao Kahn to begin with. Gargos is cool, but if Gargos needs to be on the show, he could fight my goat Firebrand instead. That would be
For
pretty
fuck's sake, if
cool.
he's gonna fight someone from Mortal Kombat, there's another guy that just visually matches him better.
Onaga?
Mm-hmm. I can't say that like I'd be
I could
thrilled
see it,
to see
yeah.
Onaga, but like at least that's something new. It would be like
Yeah,
Comprisor
but
scaling
like
from like classic era Mortal Kombat 2 instead of like all the new stuff, which is all we got in Khan and like Goro and all that. Like Gaga, like Onaga would be focused on scaling to like old continuity things, which would be something different as well. They can find some other feat that he physically can't dodge and say he scales to it in speed.
Yeah.
Okay, we have Steve
Um,
versus the Terraria guy. Or more accurately, they would just
nah, I mean,
call it Minecraft versus Terraria.
see, with Steve, I feel like there's, at this point, enough you could do, because there's enough flavor text in Minecraft stuff that you could get a vague idea of his personality, what goes on in Minecraft, the type of stuff he does, like, there's plenty for you to cover. And there's the Minecraft movie coming out featuring Jack Black.
Yeah, but like you gotta do Steve versus Bowser then when that comes out. Once that comes out, that's gonna become the matchup.
That'll be a goated not death battle. The Terrarian, I like Terraria as much as the next guy. I can't say the Terrarian's working with that much personality, and I can't say I can imagine a version of the fight that like would really sell me on both games interacting very well. And also, I'm just like, Terraria's cool. I don't really need to see it on Death Battle. I don't think. I think I'm fine.
Cool. I like it though. I like Terraria. This is the Because the thing is that, like, when I think of Steve, I don't think of personality. I think of guy at mine, put thing together, build house, green thing, walk up, explode. Creeper versus Doomshroom, by the way, that is the best matchup of all time. Do that death battle. When are you gonna do that, huh?
I mean, Steve's established personality is that he's a little silly and he's like a creative type, and so he puts together contraptions.
Yeah.
And then apparently Alex is supposed to be more focused on like survival mode type stuff.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not listening to you. We have Rao versus Akuma.
Okay. Based fucking
Except
awesome
not that
matchup.
Akuma.
I think
This is Akuma Shogun from Kinnikuman Man.
What the fuck? I
don't
mean,
know.
still cool, I guess.
It looks cool. I don't know well though. Kinnikuman and Fist of the North Star does feel like a very natural combination.
Yeah, Kinnikuman is a series I'd like to see on Death Battle just because it's one of those series that's so fucking just absurd. Just because, like, I don't know, the dude that makes Kinnikuman really will just take anything, give it arms, and call that a wrestler.
Is there a Baki versus Kinnikuman matchup? Because I don't know why. That feels like that has to exist.
I mean, you could have Baki versus Kinnikuman Jr., I think, or like what fucking Kinnikuman's like son. I think that could make sense. The big issue there is just scale, because it's like Baki does do some insane shit, but it's like it's insane shit of like martial arts. It's like JoJo weird, where Kinnikuman is more like Popeye weird, where it's like way over the top. There is a character in Kinnikuman who is. If I remember correctly, is
Very informative.
Yeah.
Speaking of differences in scale, though,
Kinnikuman matchup is Springman, Kinnikuman, Springman, Mega Man, Springman Arms Battle Royale.
That is the matchup. Speaking of weird, though, here is of scale difference. Here is Ray from Fist of the North Star versus Polnareff. I get it.
Yeah.
You are talking about a guy who, with his bare hands, just stop Silver Chariot. Like, just put his palm out and Chariot would just kind of break against it. That is what we're dealing with here.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like Jotaro versus Kenshiro, but they cut things instead of punch them.
It's also like the whole like sister deal and all that. Polnareff is really cool. I would like to see Polnareff, but I think I said there's no matchup
I mean, the
that really
thematics
does
are
it.
there. It's just like functionally as a fight and a debate, it's not very different.
I like Ray too. I would like to see both, just not against each other personally. We have Homer Simpson versus. I mean, you already know who he's fighting. Come on, you already know who he's fighting. Come on.
Holy
Yeah, you already know. I don't need to fucking tell you. Yeah, I mean. Oh god, he's dying. Donovan is dying again. Guys, he's dying. Help. You have to send your prayers. Send your support.
You have to send me this video.
Send him $300 on PayPal.
To share this video with 10 people and leave a like and tell your grandma to like it or she's gonna be cursed.
Homer Peter up to the top because they did fight, but they just had a completely normal fist fight. There's so much bullshit they can do. Come on, guys. Come on.
I mean, they had a fist fight and then they turned into fucking like metahumans for a little bit. And it's like, haha, I am the only one with superpowers.
Wrong. Alright, we have... that was a
What the fuck do you mean wrong? That happened.
We have the Flood versus the Necromorphs from Dead Space. It's neat. It's not my favorite for the Flood. It's neat. I don't think the Flood belong in Death Battle. I don't think Death Battle have the budget for that. Straight up. They don't have the budget for that. for any Flood matchup or any matchup like this. Like, there are a lot of, like, I like Flood versus Tyranids from Warhammer. They don't have the budget. I like Cybermen versus Borg, which is similar in the fact that it's a army fight between species that they do not have the budget for. They don't got the budget for it. That's the thing.
Really?
Like,
I agree.
I like this matchup. I would like to see it if they had the budget for it. They never would. We have Piccolo versus Nucleus.
Yeah, I like Piccolo versus Knuckles. I think it's thematic. I think it works. I think it's cool.
This is funny because I remember it was like not even a year ago you said the matchup just sucked and they could do nothing with it. Would you like to explain yourself? Would you like to explain your change of heart, Don?
Yeah. Knuckles versus Juggernaut, stupid, and I hate it. And this one's better.
All right, I'll put it up there for you. We have Ragnar the Blood Edge versus some chick from Tales of Berserk or something.
Velvet Crow, I think.
Is, man. The thing is, I have purchased Tales of Berseria. I own it. I'm not going to play it for a bit. I have a couple of games I want to get through. One of which is UFO Grandizer, which I'm very excited to play. Because who fucking would have expected a Grandizer game on PlayStation 5 before a Mazia game?
Honestly, within the last 2 years, that is not the most surprising Grandizer news I've heard.
Okay, here's the question: is there any such thing as like modern day Grandizer news that wouldn't be surprising? Just hearing about
I think the more surprising thing was I guess it wasn't news like recently, but I was rewatching the video. Is they were announcing one of the seasons of Epic Rap Battles of History. It had been a while since they had made anything.
I remember.
And this. Peter announces that he's having a child. And I was watching the video. I'm like, is nice Peter Epic Rap Battles wearing a fucking UFO Grandizer shirt? What the fuck?
I mean, honestly, this gives me hope that we're gonna get more giant mecha games in the future. Give me a Gal Gaigar game. I want to see a King of the Braves game. Anyway, Ragnar Velvet Crow. I don't know you very well, Velvet.
I don't know Velvet very well. I'm open to learning. Tales of seems pretty cool. I like Ragnar. I'd like to see him.
Your challenge for tonight, comment section, is to give me a Tales of versus Trails of matchup, because that just sounds like it'd be cool. All right.
I thought you were gonna give me a challenge.
Your challenge is to explain Sumire Yoshizawa versus Hibiki Tachibana.
Fuck it. Hold on.
Good job. You've done a great job already. You've succeeded. I do not know you two at all, but it's a popular matchup.
I feel like I've heard these names before, but I cannot connect them to faces.
You know Sumire. You know her.
I do?
I know you know her. You met her. I saw you talking to her at the mall last week. You were like, ew, what the fuck are you doing? Because that's the thing you say.
What are you talking about?
It's from Persona, man.
Oh, okay. It's fucking... Oh, sorry, you did this same joke before. Fuck you.
Alright, we have King versus... Okay, there are two King matchups, and I want you to just guess. Is this the one that you really like? The one that you... Also, there's three, I guess. Is it one of the two that you really like and would be cool, would happy to see because it's cool? Or is this the one that you fucking hate and don't want at all?
What I hate, is it Incineroar?
It's Incineroar. It's neither Tizlok nor Zangief. It is Incineroar.
Fuck Incineroar. I stand firmly by the insult and overgeneralization that the same people who are fans of Incineroar are the people who are making horny posts on Tony the Tiger's Twitter and made him delete his account.
We're going to move on to
Stop
Deoxys.
gooning for cereal mascots.
We're going to move on to Deoxys versus Dark Samus.
Better than Cell versus Dark Samus by a mile. I think it's pretty cool.
I think like Deoxys is one of the few Pokemon that has a very consistent story, and that story is a laser hits a virus, and then the virus gets a big rock and decides to destroy Earth because. And then a giant slinky just flies in, headbutts the rock, and then Deoxys comes out like, bro, what the fuck? And then fights the big lizard, and then gets its shit pushed in.
It's not even always a laser, it's just a rock falls out of the sky and there's a spaghetti monster on it.
And it's always Rayquaza that shows up to beef. It's never, like, yeah, it's fought, like, Mewtwo in the past, and, like, I'm sure it's fought some other things, but, like, it's always Rayquaza. Deoxys comes to the party.
My favorite is,
the next time it comes in, is Rayquaza busts in and attacks.
It shows up in the manga Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Adventure, where it fights Haretta, just like the main character. He just fist fights Deoxys, and it's really funny.
Goat. Absolutely goated. Legend.
He's so cool. I fucking love Diamond and Pearl Adventure. Anyone in the comments, or I guess viewers in general, you don't have to be in the comments. If you haven't read Pokemon Diamond and Pearl Adventure, Pokemon Diamond Adventure, it's only...
Now, I'm pretty sure what he said was that he recommends it, and you should go read it if you haven't. Pretty sure that's what he said.
It's 8 volumes long, so go read it.
Anyway, this one I support. I think Deoxys, honestly, among legendaries, has some of the more prominent personality in the sense that it always seems to be annoyed. Like, Deoxys never seems to be in a good mood. I've never seen Deoxys look like it's happy. It's always got this vibe of just being done with everything. And I honestly, I vibe. I'm vibing with that. I feel that. Dark Samus is cool too. We have... I don't even know what to say with this one. We have Alan Wake versus Sora. I'm gonna let Don regrow his brain. We have Alan Wake versus Sora.
Why?
I don't know. Alright, we have Azura versus Jin Mori.
I guess I get the appeal, but, like, I fucking never hear anybody talking about God of High School unless it's fucking, look how powerful Jin Mori is. Oh, he's so badass. Look how cool these fights are.
That's not true. I've seen DJ talk about it. I saw him say that he thought it was really cool, and then like a week later he said that it fell off really hard and he doesn't like it anymore. So
well, that's what you heard him talk about. I'm talking about what I've heard people talk about it.
Well, I'm saying that I disagree with you. Anyway, I don't know Jin Mori well.
It's not a matter of opinion.
We have the meta from Red vs. Blue versus Scarface from the Predator series. I think this is really cool. I think that Death Battle are not going to use a single Predator character. They're always just going to generalize the entire species. And I don't think the meta needs to come back in general. So...
Yeah, I was going to say, more than them not using a single Predator, why the fuck would they bring the meta back?
To be fair, they have proven they are much better at using Red versus Blue for action scenes than for anything to do with comedy or character. They cannot do Red versus Blue comedy or use the characters' personalities well. What they can do is make them look really cool in an action scene. Keep that in mind.
I thought Carolina and Church's banter was fine in that episode.
I'm talking about what they did the time after they made Red vs. Blue fight itself. The episode where the action was really good, and then the comedy didn't exist, and the personalities were not there.
Yeah.
I get this one. I like the matchup on its own. It's very much indie versus show. It's a very indie versus show matchup. Like, because meta doesn't need to come back, as I said. I think if they're going to do a Red vs. Blue character solely for the cool action, give Tex her own like dedicated episode. I just thought of
And,
Agent Tex
now
versus
that Rooster Teeth isn't
Kumagawa.
around anymore, what do you think that means for Sarge potentially being Boomstick's father?
Uh, I think Boomsticks is an orphan now.
Warner Brothers destroyed my father. Bring him back.
That's gonna happen in Mickey Mouse versus Bugs Bunny. Mark my words. Mickey Mouse is gonna win because Boomstick's gonna run into the fight and beat the shit out of Bugs Bunny with the angry video game nerd, because he's angry about his dad being erased from existence.
Like all the memes when Max hadn't been in any fucking any goofy media for like since like the '90s, and they were like, "They made my kid not canon, Mickey. Give me back my son."
It's that. But it's his Boomstick with his dad. His dad got killed in Crisis on Infinite Warner Brothers properties. So anyway, Scarface meta. I'm ambivalent. Like I'm not saying that because like I like the matchup, but like for a death battle, they're not gonna do a single Predator because people don't know that Predators are individual characters, as attested by everyone who defended Boba Fett versus Predator. Really, that's maybe a bit too general a claim. There are plenty who are completely fair with their defenses of it, but there are also plenty who clearly have no idea on Predator media and think that it's just completely normal to generalize an entire species as a single thing, which it's not. They just had Boba Fett kill an unblooded Predator and said that that was fine, most because they didn't have a model for a better Predator, which I understand. Still weird. And does Meta need to come back? You can ask that among yourselves. Like I said, I think if they're gonna bring a Red versus Blue character back for the sake of doing cool action, I would like to see a dedicated episode for Tex.
Yeah.
I thought of Tex versus Kumagawa from Medaka Box. Terrible matchup, horrible fight potential, but it's just really funny to me because both of them are basically pre-built with the sole purpose of losing. Like their entire deal is that they kick all the ass, but they will lose. They will find a way to lose in the end, and that is. Now, if I've ever heard a not death battle matchup, that sounds like one, to be honest.
Oh my!
Oh, he's glitching. We haven't even gotten to the cyborg matchup, and he's already glitching again. All right, so the next one is Kamen Rider Kuga versus Ultraman Tiga. I love this matchup. I love Kamen Rider Kuga. I really like Tiga as a show, and the character's alright too. I really like the whole deal. The first proper Heisei member of these two classic Tokusatsu series, because you have to ignore the movies that came out in the Heisei era but are generally classified as Showa because reasons. Which both of them have that. The whole thing with like Tiga really is just like Kamen Rider Kuga, but if it was lighthearted and about kaiju. And the whole counter thing of like Tiga is like the embodiment of light, while Kuga is literally the ultimate darkness, being wielded by a kind-hearted individual. I like it a lot. It's going to the top. Now Donovan, you can talk about what's about to come up, because this is very much a you matchup actually. And this time I'm saying that, and I'm not about to hit you with Finn and Jake versus Mordecai and Rigby. You know, I'm not about to hit you with that. In fact, I'm pretty sure that came up a lot, and I just didn't include it because we talked about that matchup enough. No, this is Cyclops versus Joe.
Oh, yeah, this matchup's pretty cool.
It's an actual
I think
Donovan
Cyclops,
matchup.
Cyclops has definitely had his reputation on the upswing with the new X-Men animated series continuation coming out. And I think I think he's one of the characters in the Versus community that a lot of people are like, oh, this character has like no good matchups. He's so cool, but there are no good matchups. Here it is. For the uninitiated who don't know, Cyborg 009 is considered Japan's first superhero team, created by Shotaro Ishinomori, creator of Sentai and Kamen Rider. It is about a group of cyborgs who were, I believe, created by a villainous organization and then rehabilitated, uh, who fight other cyborgs to save humanity. And Joe himself has super speed and a blaster, like a ray gun that can shoot different kinds of rays. And he's got like force fields and stuff. He's got all kinds of different powers. He serves a pretty similar role to what Scott does for the X-Men, where it's like he's not always like the de facto like head honcho, and he's not always necessarily the strongest one in any given story, but he is typically like their field commander and the most well-rounded one. And I think that they serve a pretty similar role as some of the most iconic like superhero team leaders in both in manga, anime, and like comic culture. And I think it's really good that Cyclops is back on the up and up, especially considering what the Fox version of the X-Men franchise fucking did to his character and his public reputation. Like, Fox is almost like, I think Fox honestly did Cyclops worse than the DCEU did Superman, where it's like you've at least got like the Justice League cartoons and like a lot of like extraneous Superman media like still showing him in a cool light. The Fox X-Men films, no matter how many times they rebooted it, just could not give a shit about Scott Summers, and it really shows.
Yeah, there you go. He likes the matchup. The next one we have here is one of the few, like, you could call same series matchups. I would disagree. It's same franchise matchups. Like if it was like Nintendo sort of matchup that I like. This is Takanuva from Bionicle versus Lloyd from Ninjago. I do really like this one. I think it's really cool. I don't know why they've decided to just do green Lloyd instead of gold Lloyd in this thumbnail. Given that the whole thing is Takanuva is gold. But it looks cool. They did good job with this. I like this.
I think it's probably just because a lot of people still know Lloyd
Yeah,
as the Green Ninja.
I guess it's also because they went like gold one side, green on the other side, so there was some color contrast. I really like this matchup. I really like Takanuva. I would love to see Bionicle. I would like to see Ninjago. I like this more than Lloyd's other matchups. And it's cool to me. Get a proper fucking stop motion
Lloyd
guy
is
to do
also
it.
strangely topical because with fucking with the Death Battle crew posting their cryptic ass just like green squares on Twitter, people have been posting the meme of and me, what's my element? Green.
That's true. That should tell you when this is being recorded. All right, we have Frankenstein's monster versus me, T-Type me, from Resident Evil.
Fucking huh?
You know what? It's creative. It's creative. It's not my ideal. Is Nemesis versus Magician on here? Nemesis versus Magician is probably.
It's creative,
but
brother, what's that? What's that, brother?
Yeah, I think Nemesis Magician is on here. And you know that one speaks for itself. We'll get to it. This one is very much. It's not for me, but like you know what, it makes me smile a little bit just because it's so weird. Like you know, this very much feels like someone's like they know that it's not the most thematic or interesting thing, but they thought of it one day and they grew to love it. Sort of matchup. That's the vibe it gives me.
A walking stitched together corpse when it gets hit with a fucking missile launcher.
I mean, if you composited Frankenstein with like his media, like poor Nemesis, man.
If you composite Frankenstein's monster and all of his media, he fought fucking Baragon, so.
Yeah, he fought Baragon, he fought Superman, the fucking Fate Servant, fucking Shin Megami Tensei probably does something with him. He fought Simon Belmont, like crazy stuff.
I guess by that merit, if you're full compositing, then Nemesis fought Galactus, so.
Yeah, but he fought like just the Galactus of Earth 313 something 7, not proper Galactus. So he fought like he's like planetary, but like he's not Galactus, you know.
Bomb's planetary.
All right, we have Emil from Nia versus Velvet Crow from Tales of Berseria. This is one where I'm gonna have to say, like, I, as a fan of Nia, and honestly as a fan of BlazBlue, which of these matchups I like more between these two Velvet Crow ones, because I'm gonna put them together. It's gonna come down to how I feel after I play Tales of Berseria. One of these is probably gonna get my support, or I'll hate Velvet and I'll say both of these suck, or I'll like her a lot and say both of these suck because it's nothing I want for her. You know?
Those are the possible outcomes.
Or I just never play it and I die of like a heart attack. Alright, we have Eren Yeager versus Lelouch from Code Geass. It's not my Eren go-to.
I mean, no, it's not my Eren go-to either. I think you definitely could do something neat with it. I think Lelouch would be neat to see in a death battle. I'm sure he's got other opponents though.
He's got Char from Gundam, so just do that.
Oh yeah, Char's cool.
We have okay, Don. All right, so Donovan. Okay, okay, we have Zordon versus Professor X.
That's terrible. Get that out of my face.
Now, what alarms me, right, is Zordon appears to have a body in this thumbnail. Explain.
Yeah, I mean, Zordon's just like a... If you don't know, Zordon isn't just a floating head in a tube. In the first Power Rangers movie... In the first Power Rangers movie, Ivan Ooze comes and he busts up the tube, and we see that Zordon's actually a dude that lives in like a drawer that's in the tube. And when the tube breaks open, you can pull him out of it. He's just like a blue guy. Yeah, what? And then in the 2017 continuity, at least, I think he used to be a Power Ranger. I think he was part of the original like Cenozoic Power Rangers team.
Yeah, but that's not...
And Zordon has a history as like he's like a King Kai type character where like there's an implied power that he has in like having these techniques and this abilities and this knowledge and like this beef with other like wizards and shit. He's not just a big face in a tube.
So you're saying the matchup should be Zordon versus King Kai?
I'm telling you that matchup's funnier. I get what Zordon versus Professor X is going for, but I don't like it.
But the difference is that Zordon's a nice guy and Professor X is a cunt.
Yeah. What if you made me fall out of my chair?
What if instead they did Zordon versus Itagawa from Go Ranger? The fucking commander.
Yeah, I mean, fucking, what's Zordon gonna do when his fucking frail 1,000-year-old man palate can't handle fucking curry rice?
Yeah, he's a chef, isn't he? He's also a chef.
Yeah, he runs like a little bar that they hang out at, and then fucking Key Ranger Oiza keeps fucking making his tab too big, or Oizawa.
Okay, all right. We have Baiken, Guilty Gear versus Dunban, Xenoblade. I'm going to put this in Don't Know for now because I am in the middle of playing Xenoblade. Dunban seems really cool, but I don't. It doesn't look like his arm doesn't work yet. Maybe it will stop working later, but like he's not swinging it, but it doesn't. It's still there. His arm is still there.
I know there's a lot of people that like Dunban versus Bike, and I'm sure it's actually something to do with their story or characters that people have in common with them.
Yeah, I mean, I like Bike and Setsuka, but at the same time, Soul Calibur and Guilty Gear is far from the most balanced matchup you could come up with. Okay. The next one is Tsunoyoshi Sawada versus Tatsumi Oga from Zatch Bell. I think it's like specifically with Reborn and Baby Beal, but like of course, duh. I don't know either very well. I think Suno would be cool to see. I have no strong feelings towards Oga, and that's despite having played J-Stars, where he's in it and he's a big fucking character and very important.
No, hold on. You said Oga from Zatch Bell. Is he from Zatch Bell or is he the guy from Beelzebub?
I think. Wait, hold on. I might be crossing streams here. You know what? Tell me down below, because I genuinely don't care.
Beelzebub is the one where the little baby kind of looks like Zorro, and the dude becomes a butterfly. That's Beelzebub.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I'm thinking of something else, because I think he's going to match up with the Zatch Bell guy, and I've got like my wires crossed there.
Yeah, Zatch Bell has like a pretty generic looking dude, and then he's got like a little blonde doll that has lightning powers.
I think you're right. I think Zatch Bell is the other matchup for the Beelzebub guy. Either way, I don't care. I think Suna's cool. He's like one of my favorite characters to play in J-Stars as well. And Ogre is whatever, and his fucking super form looks really stupid. Which is the point, I get, because he's got a pacifier in his mouth. He's definitely not meant to look badass. I just don't know. As you can tell. Alright, let's try to get the franchise right this time. We got Shinichi Izumi from Tokyo Ghoul versus Ken Kaneki from Parasite.
Close enough. I used to be a lot bigger into this matchup. I think these days I definitely am leaning more towards Kaneki versus Eren, but seeing Shinichi on Death Battle in general would be really cool. I do like Parasite quite a bit.
I don't know them super well, but it seems neat enough. Also, I think the renders in this thumbnail are hand drawn, and they look really nice. All right, we have Cody Rhodes versus Homelander. No, thank you. It just doesn't do it for me. I think it'd be fine to see Homelander get bodied by what is ostensibly just a normal guy who happens to have really good scaling. But honestly, it doesn't do it for me. I just can't really see it being that interesting.
Fair.
We have... Oh, fuck. God. Homura from Puello Madoka Magica versus Kurumi from whatever I don't care. It's the chick with the gun in the maid outfit that's red. Yeah, I mean, that should tell you where this is going. I just don't know them.
Yeah, I don't either.
Alright, we have Kukalen from Irish mythology versus Achilles from Greco-Roman mythology. I don't get it. I do kind of get it. At the same time, Kukalen is a really interesting character. For one thing, he's Irish, and that already makes him very unusual as a person, probably. For another, he acts like a dog.
Okay.
He turns into the Hulk. He has a spear that, upon making contact with you, if he does it with the right technique, will infinitely coalesce outwards into an endless series of spikes that grow out from within your body, to such a point where, to remove Guy Bullock back out of someone's body, he has to perform surgery on their corpse just to get it out of them, because it grows so infinitely within them, like a fractal of death. And Achilles is really just a guy with a spear and a shield. In Roman mythology, which, to give you an idea on how insane it is to use Roman mythology, the Fate game with Kukalen came out closer to the myth of Kukalen than the Roman Achilles did from the original stories of Achilles. So, Fate is closer to the original myth than Roman Achilles is to Greek Achilles. That's crazy. But also, if you use that, he's just a guy that's invincible everywhere except his heel, unless you hit him hard enough, in which case he stops being invincible, which, let's say Kukalen is a little bit stronger than Achilles.
I mean, I feel like you could describe anything alive that way, is that it's invincible until you hit it hard enough that it dies.
That's the weird thing. I think from what I remember in the Achilles, the way it works is, if you are weaker than him, but you hit him with a weapon that should hurt him, it won't work because you, the wielder, are still weaker. But if you were Hercules, who is massively stronger, for example, or even like Perseus, and you were to hit him with a twig, it would damage him because you, the wielder, are stronger. It's something like that. In other words, Ku would just fucking kill him. He would just fucking impale him. I just don't think, if they were going to do another mythology episode, first of all, Greek, boring. Overdone, overplayed. You look up anything mythology, Google's going to automatically assume you mean Greek. Secondly, Achilles is not very... Like, Kukulkan is awesome. Achilles is just kind of boring. I don't care about him. Do Perseus, do Theseus if you're gonna do Greek. They're interesting. Fucking... Do Jason. He would be neat because he's such a weird pick. Fucking Orion would be neat. Achilles just does not interest me. He's got all these divine weapons that are just a shield that's really hard to break and a spear that stabs really good. Kukulkan's got a spear that grows within your body once he stabs you until you're impaled from the inside out and you fucking die. It's slightly cooler. Just saying. I don't get the matchup really that well. I think Kukulkan has better. He's got Beowulf, which is my go-to for him. Achilles doesn't really have anything interesting. I don't like Achilles Siegfried. I think Siegfried Kukulkan is more interesting. It doesn't work for me. I'm not a fan of it. And Don doesn't get to say anything because he has no connection to these characters except that he is also Irish.
Hello.
Hello, Irish man. How do you feel about Ireland?
It's pretty cool.
Yeah, most people tend to say it's decently cold. All right, we have Johnny Gat from Saints Row versus Trevor from Grand Theft Auto. A very natural combination of games. Saints Row kind of is just Grand Theft Auto if it was an anime.
Yeah, I definitely do want to see Saints Row on Death Battle at some point, especially if we're using the Saints Row president from, 4 or 5?
4, yeah. Oh, the boss is the main character throughout, like,
Because,
the series, or player, as the fans call him, is the same character, is like the main character of the series. He becomes president in 4, then the world explodes, and then he goes into cyberspace and becomes a superhero in cyberspace. And then he gets, like, a super suit that lets him do the same moves that he was in cyberspace. So, he's got, like, a mech suit that lets him be a superhero.
Yeah, he seems like a pretty funny character. I'd like to see him in a
the
Death
boss
Battle.
from Saints Row versus Kamen Rider Kabuto. They become superhero in a super suit, and they're not really heroes at all, but they kind of will do a hero thing if push comes to shove, but they're really just assholes. Well, there's your matchup.
Hey, yeah, there you go.
One of the big powers in 4 is super speed.
It's not nearly as fast as Kabuto's,
No, it's
though.
not nearly as fast. It's like, no way. In fact, even if you were to scale him to the speed of, like, Zinniak's ship, and say that it took 1 nanosecond to get from outside of the solar system to Earth, that's still slower. It still took time to make it there. It didn't just get there before time passed. But, it sounds funny. I think that's funny. But, yeah. So, I get Johnny Trevor. They're both kind of insane. They're both the strong one that's hard to kill and is an asshole. I feel like Johnny's a bit too much for Trevor, though.
Yeah, I definitely get that impression.
Yeah, and I guess it doesn't help that Trevor's my least favorite of the GTA 5 crew. I don't know how popular an opinion that is. Because I know Trevor's pretty popular, but, like, I prefer Michael and Franklin just a lot more.
I haven't played GTA 5, so I have no input on the situation.
I'm ambivalent. I think this is one I need to sit on a bit more to get a solid opinion on. I'm not against it, though. Alright, we have Old Man Logan versus The Last Ronin. Especially with what's, like, coming out for Last Ronin, I think this is pretty cool and could be neat to see. I've come around to it a bit more.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a good bit.
Okay, let's go. My computer is lagging and dying on me. Ah, you'll love to see it. I'm gonna put it as a top. I think this would be really neat to see, and it's like an individual Ninja Turtle that you can't composite like that much. It will just be the character. No one's gonna be left out of feeling that's not the character I know. But you know what is gonna be interesting? Okay, so we're going up to a really weird one. Now, if I was to show you this thumbnail, you would tell me that it's Kiryu Red, Daigo Kiryu, versus Kamen Rider Ryuki Shinji Kido. Tell me if I got the name of Kiryu Red wrong. But it's not that.
Kiryu Red is
Is it Daigo?
Geki, I believe.
Oh, my bad. It's actually.
Or no, I was thinking of Tyranno Ranger. Yes, you were correct.
It's actually Dino Charge Red Ranger Tyler Navarro versus Dragon Knight Kit Taylor.
Are you sure?
Yes. Okay, the helmet is almost a completely black visor with like, it's shaped like a mouth. It's got like teeth around all the edges of the black visor.
No, I'm not doubting, because technically that is not the only Power Ranger season adapted from Kiryu.
Well,
South Korea actually got the rights to make their own season of Kiryu that they also call Power Rangers.
Okay, but like do a South Korea Kamen Rider versus South Korea Super Sentai matchup, because there's a lot of interesting stuff going on with Korea's Kamen Rider adaptation as well.
Because I think that's the thing that would make sense to me, is if it's South Korean Kiryu versus American Ryuki.
It would also make sense to me if it was just Jason.
Yeah, I think Jason would also make sense.
I will say, like, this is definitely one of the more out there ones in terms of, like, the tokusatsu matchups. It's probably the most out there tokusatsu, and one of the most, like, generally weird ones in this list total. It's interesting. I will give it that. Like, I would definitely have a noteworthy reaction to its announcement that would not be wholly negative.
Yeah, I definitely get that.
I would put this probably in just ambivalent for now, because I need to watch Dragon Knight. I know that your love for Power Rangers has died about as brutally as Ryuki himself did. So
yeah. Also, for the idea of Jason versus fucking Kamen Rider Dragon Knight guy, this is just a fun little trivia bit that Kamen Rider Ryuki and Kiryu Sentai Zyuranger are both the 16th seasons of their respective franchise.
Mm-hmm. Alright, we have Fatalis
it's a little fun tidbit.
Fatalis from Monster Hunter. So, I mean, my thing here is, like, I like Ridley from the manga more than anything, where he's like a smack-talking, sarcastic cunt who is pure evil. You're not gonna get that here. But I also understand most people just want to see video game Ridley, where he's just like a personality-devoid, animalistic, shrieking monster creature. He's also like a tenth the size of Fatalis. Like, Fatalis is gigantic.
Like, the Fatalis is cool and all, but like, and like, I think if you're going to do an individual Monster Hunter monster, you could definitely get away with this one. Ridley feels a lot more. I guess it depends how far into the series you are. Earlier on, it feels very eventful when Ridley shows up, because it's like, oh shit, that's the arch nemesis. That's the guy that fucking killed Samus's family. But then at a certain point in the franchise, it's like, oh, okay, well, there's Ridley's corpse. Oh, okay, well, there's Ridley's corpse again. Oh, he's a robot. Oh, he's more of a robot. Oh, he's more of a robot.
I definitely think the main thing that this one's going for is, like, the idea of big dragon that always shows up out of nowhere and is a boss. I'm not against it. I would like to see a matchup that focuses more on the space pirate thing for Ridley. But I also understand that's barely an aspect of his character outside of the manga, and like, I'm not gonna go out here and say we should get Ridley versus Gokai Red. So, you know,
I mean, you could use Bosco, I guess, from Gokaiger. That's Gokai Red's old crewmate that betrayed him and is also a secret monster man.
Yeah, I saw him. I mean, you could do that. I would not be against that. But again, I am in the minority in preferring to see the manga characterization of Ridley to the video game one. Because I get that like a big appeal of Ridley is just that he is a big fuck off dragon that tries to murder you. That's the appeal. That's what people like. So
This is Captain Harlock, if you really wanted
what the
to.
fuck? Um, I just don't know how I feel about Fatalis. I like it. I like the dragon. I don't remember what the hunt was like at all when I did it. Because it's been a while since I played Monster Hunter, and my main memory is just my severely unnecessary amount of Devil Show hunts. Uh, it's okay. I wouldn't hate seeing this because I think it'd be neat. But a lot of that probably comes from the fact that I'm just not big on any of Ridley's matchups.
Fair.
Okay, we have Tom and Jerry versus Sylvester and Tweety. We're going to ignore the elephant in the room. We're going to ignore the elephant in the room, and we're just going to talk about the matchup on its own. I don't feel very strongly. Either one way or another.
I don't think it needs to be a matchup.
I'm pretty ambivalent.
I think either of them work fine on their own as matchups for each other, and I think like that. I don't know if you're going to have a duo as part of a death battle matchup, it should be a duo that are known for working together and not just like arch nemesis. Because it's like, oh boy, next death battle is Mario and Bowser versus Sonic and Eggman.
No, but that would be fucking cool though. It would be bad. It would be terrible, but it'd be cool.
It would be cool, but it's just so unnecessary.
Yeah. Have you got a problem with unnecessary things, Don?
Yeah, I mean, depending on the context.
Alright, we have Suna versus Rin Okumura. This visually looks cool. I can't say much for Suna that would make me go, yeah, I want to see him fight my man Rin.
I think a lot of this matchup just boils down to red fire, like orange fire on head versus blue fire on head. Like, I get the appeal visually. I don't think the two characters have much in common personality-wise, and their arsenals I definitely don't think play off each other super well. I think Rin has a better matchup in Inuyasha, and I'm sure Suna has something cool.
Suna versus Yusuke.
I'm sure. Yeah, I think a cool idea as well would be as like a DBX Suna versus Koro Sensei in like an assassin teacher versus a hitman young man.
Now clearly what we need is Suna versus Kamen Rider Ghost.
You know what? Sure.
Alright, this one you can talk about. This is Gyro. I don't know if that's how it's said. Versus Kamina. The guy on the horse from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
This matchup's fucking stupid. Yeah, Gyro Zappelli. Yeah. No, this matchup's stupid because you've got a dude in a fucking.
He's the Zappelli of the other timeline?
Yeah.
Which one? Which Zappelli?
William.
Ah, okay. Alright, go on. Do tell me about the guy on the horse versus the giant robot.
Yeah, like that's the big thing is that the fight dynamic fucking isn't anything. It's a dude on a horse throwing balls at a robot, which is a funny visual, but does not make for the most interesting fight in the world. Ballbreaker theoretically could contend with what Gurren Lagann, or at least what Kamina would offer to it, could do. But we've also only seen Ballbreaker for like 4 panels. Both of these characters, spoiler alert, skip ahead 10 seconds if you haven't seen or read either of these and plan to. Both of these characters exist pretty much just to die and give the main character like a push forward into their arc, and they focus on like infinite rotation and like spinning as their thing. Kamina has, I guess, enough for a death battle, but I would rather Simone if you're going to have Gurren Lagann as a mech, or have like both of them like, I think just using common and miss as part of the fun of it. And then Gyro's also cool, but I don't think either of them necessarily need a death battle episode, and I don't think this is the matchup for either of them.
All right, we have now Garfield versus Snoopy. It's neat. Like, I'm not against it.
Yeah, if they could make it work.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. Oh, that's the wrong one. We have now another fucking Tachibana Hibiki Tachibana. I can't just say Tachibana now because I'm going to think of Kamen Rider. Hibiki Tachibana versus Uniyuki from Uniyuki is a Hero. I don't know either of you very well. Alright, we have Saitama versus the Tick.
I mean, I get it, but I like the Tick versus Earthworm Jim more.
Feels like a Ducko match. I'm not against it, but I can't really say that. Like, it's not for me. I don't think it works for me personally. You know what does work for me?
Yeah.
You do. Well, then you're gonna know it's not gonna be Joker versus Giorno.
No.
Oh boy.
not a fun matchup to discuss. Two characters I don't like. Two stories I don't like.
Okay, shush. We're moving on now to one that is interesting, at least. Like it's not one. Okay, it's Gwenpool versus Akiba Red. Yeah.
Hold on, fucking
From Akiba Red.
So who's the first one?
Gwenpool.
Okay. Sorry, I just didn't fucking register the first time. I mean, it's cool. I think you could definitely have an interesting vibe with it, both becoming, especially in the later parts of their story, very, like, metatextual in the shit that actually is happening. And with both of them starting off as just, like, uber fans of their respective verses that they're in, I think it's pretty cool. It definitely understands Gwenpool as a character a lot more than a lot of her other matchups, and Akiba Ranger's pretty based. I think I still like Akiba Ranger versus the Great Lakes Avengers, but I think this is definitely a pretty solid A tier matchup. I like this a good bit.
I think it's like I said, it's interesting. Like it's definitely not one that is immediately obvious, but I think it works. We have a Kamen Rider now. We have Genom versus Kaiba. Now, I do want to reserve full judgment on Kamen Rider matchups for shows that I've not seen until after I've watched them. But for now, I can say that I really like this. I just think, I think it's funny. I mean, Dan pretty much just is an anime character in real life.
I'm all for Seto Kaiba. That's my guy.
Alright, this is a weird one. We have Mordecai and Rigby. Just gonna pause to let Donovan get ready. Versus Red and Blue from Dick Figures. Now, I don't know Mordecai and Rigby's relationship.
I have not watched Dick Figures.
So, Red and Blue are two guys that met on a playground one day. To be clear, Red is an alien that crashed from space and killed a bunch of kids by accident. And then they came back to life because that's how that works. And they grew up as friends, except actually Red never gave a shit about Blue until, like, they were adults and he realized, oh, wait, I'm actually an asshole. And then they became proper friends. That's their story.
Mordecai and Rigby, I think, became friends in high school or middle school, and then they went to their current job at the park together, and I think Mordecai went to art school for a little bit, and then he was going to go to college proper to get his degree, but then didn't, so that he could hang out with Rigby. And then they're like really good friends. They're like super close with each other. I mean, I could see it. I don't know Dick Figures well enough to know if I dig this matchup necessarily, but Mordecai and Rigby are pretty cool. I like regular show.
So Red and Blue were like fully willing to kill each other on a moment's notice despite being friends. Kind of because they'll just come
Mordecai
back.
and Rigby have killed each other several times.
Well, the Red and Blue have killed each other several times too, so I gotta put this up there. Because they're just as dangerous to each other as they are to each other. Why
One of the
not?
most infamous
Why
scenes
not?
people bring up when they're discussing Mordecai and Rigby's friendship is Mordecai saying, "I'll kill you," and then pushing Rigby into the flow of time, and Rigby just fucking disintegrates. He's like, "Wait, no, I didn't mean it."
Okay. We have Gohan versus Ultraman Zero. I get it.
Uh, yeah, I get it. It's a matchup that I can appreciate more than I think I enjoy. Uh, Especially because like I like Gohan's character where it is right now. I hate Beast's design and I hate how it came about, but I like where his character is at narratively as of superhero. Uh, I haven't seen anything that Zero is in, but he reads to me like the Charizard of the Ultraman franchise, that he's just like that one cool one that was really successful, so they're just gonna keep pushing him.
Kind of, yeah.
Or more aptly, I
From
guess,
what
the
I've seen,
Lucario or
from what I've
Greninja.
seen, that's kind of how he is. I got a model kit of him. I've not built it, but like I like his design, and I like Zero. I think he's really cool. I think he's too cool for Gohan. But also like I need to see more of his stuff. I think it's a
Yeah,
neat enough matchup, but like
yeah, it's fine.
I flip flop on it a lot. For today, I'm in a decent mood. I'll put it up into Wouldn't Mind just for you lot. All right, we have Makoto from Persona 5 versus Medaka from Medaka Box. Not my go-to for Medaka. Not my go-to for Medaka, and with the resident Persona 5 acquaintance here, he can tell you how he feels about Makoto.
Makoto's cool. She's one of the better characters in Persona 5, I feel personally. Um, I know she's also got popular matchups with a few other RPG characters. I know Tifa's a big one for her, which I don't mind. I think that matchup's fine.
I'll put this in don't know for me, because like I want a Medaka matchup where I know the other character. And speaking of characters I don't know, we have Noel versus Aegis.
Yeah, this matchup's pretty cool. I like Persona 3 of what I know of it. My old housemates are both really big fans of it. And I'm always down to see more Persona. And then Blaze Blue's really based. One of my favorite fighting game franchises. I think it would only be behind Street Fighter and Sam Show. Um, and Noel's cool. I think Noel's got one of the more interesting stories of the characters in Blaze Blue for just how like weird the circumstance of her existence is. I think the matchup
Yes,
could
as
also
opposed to all the things
be
in
a
Blaze
really
Blue
cool
that are
fight.
not weird in any way. You know, as opposed to all the completely
Yeah,
normal
but I
things
mean,
in
like,
Blaze Blue.
yeah, but I mean, just like
Famously
most
standard
of the other
everyday
characters,
origin
like
story character Arakune over here.
yeah, like Arakune was a scientist who fell into a magic hole and now he's boogers.
Yeah, he's a slop monster. He goes flop flop and he's
Yeah, now
moist.
now he's slop full of bugs.
Alright, we have Mash versus Rock Lee. They are the guy in a world of powers, and they're the one that just punches and kicks really hard, and is the strongest thing. My question is, from what I know, MASH is a comedy series. Like, it's a comedy character in a comedy series. And does that play off Rock Lee? I don't know. Gumball, you tell me in the comments how you feel about this matchup. Because I do not know MASH at all.
Rock Lee is definitely one of the more comedy focused characters in part one of Naruto. I mean, part one of Naruto is not like an overly serious story,
No,
but
not yet. It doesn't get super serious till later. Then again,
like it does have its darker moments. But
they have firmly shown that they cannot do Rock Lee comedy. I would like to see Rock Lee come back for a really
like
cool
that.
action
That's my
fight,
biggest reservation is that like they kind of just shat all over Lee. They didn't have his analysis as interesting or as well put together as Sanji's. They didn't characterize him very well. I don't think RDC sold the character very well on a voice acting front. It was just like
but look at the
a
bright
very
side.
janky delivery.
Don. Look at the bright side. They did mention Might Guy in his analysis.
They did. That's like the fucking bare minimum, though.
Yeah, but like, hey,
we
gotta talk about a One Piece episode here. Sometimes bare minimum.
we can't hold them. We can't hold them to that standard. That cannot be the standard they're held to. It has to be a little higher than that.
Okay. Well, how about the standard of Moro versus T-Rex.
Uh,
Why
I
does
mean,
Moro look more?
Moro.
Well, Moro looks more like Grogar to me. Well, I guess because like T-Rex and My Little Pony Gen 4 just is Grogar from G1, not T-Rex. But
Moro's character I'm pretty mixed on. I think his concept and introduction and a couple moments he has are pretty cool, but as an overall package, he's just such a fucking like middling antagonist. He's so fucking whatever. Cause like people were saying the same things about Super Boo when he came around. People were saying the same things about Jiren when he came around, or like Omega Shenron or Super 17. But like Moro really is just all of the generic parts of already done villains and all of their cool moments recycled on a pretty original design that just is not utilized to its fullest extent. I really wish we got more out of Moro than we did. I don't think he needs a death battle because I don't think he's really earned that kind of reputation in the fan base.
the thing with me, as the My Little Pony watcher here, um, T-Rex is cool. He's got that one really cool fight. How would you use him? I guess is the question because, uh, he never really he doesn't really do stuff within his own power. Like, at what point would you like? I'm not like, because I think with T-Rex is right. He is a weak, like pathetic guy until he like steals the magic from a bunch of random ponies, and then like he just grows in power as he keeps stealing magic. I have to wonder like at what point do you use him? Do you use him when like he finished sucking all the randos? Do you use him when he's got the power of all the alicorns and the power of Discord? Like what? Where do you draw the line for like
I
how
mean,
much power you give to him?
that's the same question with
I
Moro
have to
is because
assume,
it's
yeah.
like, do you use Moro while he's old? Do you use Moro when he's restored himself to his youth? Do you use him when he fucking Vores 7-3 and then gets the ability to like copy abilities? Do you use him with Ultra Instinct? If so, he's just gonna fucking explode. Do you use him while he's a planet?
I guess the thing you could wait. What? What was that last one?
He fucking he's like, oh no, I'm gonna explode, so I'm just gonna terraform myself with Earth. So if I explode, I explode the planet and the
I
solar
mean,
system
well,
with me.
okay.
And then Goku's Goku's like, uh oh, that's not good. Uh,
I can
and
fucking
he
imagine.
makes a big fucking he makes a big Ultra Instinct Susanoo, which
That's
making
the
a
context for
kaiju
that.
feels like it defeats the whole premise of Ultra Instinct. No, is the
Here,
whole point being
now we have
agile
something
and
that is
dodging and no
incredibly easy
no
to hit.
wasted movement?
Here's something that's easy to hit, and
No wasted movement.
in
My
this
ass. Make
in
this
this
big fucking kaiju Goku.
if you miss him when he's an Ultra
And then
Instinct, that's on. That's just because he's good. If you miss him when he's a Susanoo, that's
the
on you.
yeah, and it's like Goku's like, how do I beat this guy? He is the planet. If I hit him too hard, he's gonna explode. And then I think it's Whis shows up and it's like, oh, you see the red gem on his forehead? Just punch that and he'll die. And then it works.
That's like the lame version of Semi Perfect Cell.
Yep.
It's like if instead of Goku's heroic sacrifice, he just kind of punched him and it worked. So I guess
Yep.
you could use them both old and
Now,
just have them like stealing power from random people in the area. I don't think Death Battle would have the budget to short show that though. I think they would just have them at like their peaks. Um, the thing
wait a
with me
minute.
is
That's just Cell again. Now you're catching on.
I am the redone. It
Yep.
makes sense that that's a
I
recycled
I am
line.
the redundant.
I am the redundant. The thing with T-Rex, I like T-Rex. I prefer the G1 version of T-Rex, where he's this like hell centaur that uses the power of darkness to turn things into Satan versions, and is just unnecessarily dark and evil for such a light-hearted series, and fucking just like is the most hammy, over-the-top motherfucker in the world. That said, G4 T-Rex is voiced by Unicron from Armada, so it's not like he's lacking in presence. um, I don't know. Like, I'm not against this matchup, but I do not care about Moro, and I would rather see G1 T-Rack, which I know they won't use. Like they might use some of his stuff, like his fucking chariot that makes no sense given he is half horse, and he's got a human chariot. I have a couple questions how he sits on. Like, this guy is half horse. He has a throne, Don. How does he sit on a throne when he's half horse?
Vertically.
My assumption is that it's literally just a slab of quartz that he just rests his stomach on. That's his throne. It's just like a slab on the floor. Like a table. That's how it looks. Right, we have Seiya versus Moon.
I like Seiya versus Moon. I think it's pretty cool. I don't care what no one else says.
I like it, yeah.
I'm all for it. I like it.
All right, we have Albert Wesker versus Homelander. I just like I get it. I do get it. You know what? I do get it. I wouldn't hate this as like a DBX.
I mean, yeah, like you said, I get it, but it's just not doing much for me.
Yeah, I'm a bit ambivalent. We have Rimuru Tempest, the slime fella, versus Shiraori from So I'm a Spider, So What? Let me guess, you don't know what the fuck that is.
I feel like Rimuru has got more interesting. So I'm a Spider, So What is an isekai where they get reincarnated as a spider in a dungeon.
I prefer fucking Aizawa from the isekai about someone who just decided to slaughter a bunch of slimes until they became god. I think that's a funnier matchup to me.
Yeah, I think that's a funny one. Yeah, Rimuru definitely has more interesting options.
Alright, I've got to go turn the light on in this room quickly. You can stay here and talk about Lord Drakon versus Omagio.
With each passing day as I become a Sentai fan, consume more and more media, and grow more fond of this franchise, my ire for Power Rangers and the bastardization it's brought upon Western tokusatsu media and the release thereof, and just the decline of Power Rangers as a franchise is so frustrating. I'm so sick of Power Rangers being stuck in a constant state of Mighty Morphin glazing. Tommy Oliver's a cool character. I miss Jason David Frank. When we got a new Power Rangers game announced, I just couldn't be excited because it's Mighty Morphin again. I'm tired of seeing it. I fucking, in the comics it's Mighty Morphin, in the games it's Mighty Morphin, in the shows they're constantly bringing back the Mighty Morphin Rangers. It's not the only season. People have nostalgia for other things. Please give us fan service for any of the other seasons. Or better yet, for that matter, let Shout Factory keep releasing more of the Sentai seasons and not just the ones that got adapted into Power Rangers plus Jetman.
So this is where I should tell you that the era where Hasbro gave a ton of fan service to things that weren't the most popular versions is kind of gone. That era is gone. We are in full nostalgia for version 1 mode these days. Transformers has been giving more love to non-G1 stuff, but it's still primarily just G1. That is always, and that's the common criticism. My Little Pony, everything is kind of just continuing on from Gen 4. No love for any of the other generations. Understandably in that case, because they're kind of shit. Except I kind of like some of the Gen 3 movies, and I like some stuff in Gen 1. And obviously Power Rangers, it's just Mighty Morphin. It's all about the morphine. You know?
And then, I mean, for as cool of a design and as original of a concept as Lord Draken is within the realm of Power Rangers,
Within the realm of Power
he's
Rangers,
just not like... Yeah, he's not the most interesting character ever. And, like, I like Battle for the Grid, a really fun game. The Shattered Grid event in the comics is pretty cool. But, like... And like, it is fairly, like, nuanced character writing, again, for Power Rangers, but that's just not saying much. He's not, like, super deep or anything. And then the way he gets beat is literally just saying, hey, bro, stop being an asshole. That's why you don't have friends. And then... I don't know how much time, like, screen time Omagio actually has. I don't know, because, like, I know he's, like, the driving force behind the story. I know he is relevant, and I know the threat that Gio might turn into Omagio is a looming threat. But I don't know how much actual screen time he has. I don't know how much of a character he is. I
I'm
don't
willing
know
to bet he's got more screen time than
what to
Drakon.
I don't know what to expect from this as a death battle episode were it to happen.
Okay, never mind. It looks like Drakon technically has more, but it's all comics.
I mean, yeah, that's about what I assumed.
He's in 47 comic issues.
And like,
and then like a handful of
Omagio does have the powers of all the others all the other common writers. For Drakon having collected all these different morphers and stuff, and theoretically he should have the powers of every single Power Rangers team, including ones that weren't even in the shows, like just things that are comic exclusive. He just never shows them, never uses them, so there's no reason to assume he does have those powers. He just has like the energy from the morphers, I guess. And so his kit is effectively just Tommy Oliver's kit, only as the Green and White Rangers, not incorporating Dino Thunder Black, not incorporating Red Turbo, not incorporating Red Zeo or White Ninja Ranger, just White White Tiger Ranger and Green Dragon Ranger into one suit and one move set, and then like cranking it up to like multiversal or whatever, and he can like destroy all those universes with a wave of his hand or whatever. It's like, I mean, that's cool and all. It's just not that interesting.
Okay, so I'm looking at Omagio. It seems the big thing for him is that he is a tyrant who kind of genuinely believes that he saved the world with his actions. And then when he finds out he's going to get erased from existence, his response is to just kind of be amused and be like, "Yo, well, I mean, I guess I'm interested to see what you're going to do without me, dickhead." And that's how he dies. And then he just showed up later as a giant Buddha for no reason in the Zenkaiger Saber movie. Maybe there's a reason people don't like Saber.
That's pretty funny.
Maybe there's a reason people don't like Saber. I mean, I'm just like Buddha Omagio in a Journey to the West story. That's really funny. I have a few questions. I'll get to it though. I mean, this is not going to be till at best next year. At best. I've been watching Kamen Rider for like the midway of this year, and I'm only up to Sky Rider. So yeah. So,
I'm on Go Ranger. I finished Go Kaiser. I'm on Go Ranger.
Yeah, well, you started that like
I'm making progress.
You started this month, man. All right. Yeah. Drakon Geo. I mean, I can't say I'm against it. I wouldn't mind it. At least it looks visually cool, but it's definitely like do something else for Kamen Rider first, and like for the Power Rangers actual fans, unlike this schmuck here of Power Rangers, do something other than Mighty Morphin. I see so many people asking for something else, for like Jungle Fury or whatever. Do Masked Rider, that'd be funny. All right. Henry Stickmin versus the Second Coming. Yeah, I'd like to see that. I think it's very interesting. They would not get
I don't think the Henry Stickmin games are very funny.
Yeah, no one asked you. Okay. Never mind. People did ask you. How do you feel about Kenpachi versus Zoro?
No.
That's not what I asked. People have asked you, and you've given the wrong answer.
I feel like as a big Bleach fan and a big One Piece fan, I have the credence to say Kenpachi versus Zoro is kind of dumb. Like, they like fighting people. They got swords. I mean,
they smile. And they got
it's
scars.
not that crazy. Yeah, it's like it definitely, I guess, could be a cool fight, but like Zoro's not operating anywhere near Kenpachi's level, and I don't know. I feel like Kenpachi's at his best when he's up against someone, because like a lot of his matchups that bring out the best in his character are matchups where the other character has some insurmountable power that anyone else wouldn't be able to beat, and they're like super like all about themselves. They're like, I'm the strongest ever. No one's ever been able to triumph over this power. And then Kenpachi does, because he's just that guy. I feel like Zoro's at his best when he's fighting someone that just has like the most absurd sword technique ever, and he has to just fucking bullshit his way through beating them. often by just copying their own sword techniques, or just like being relentless. Like
I mean, it's a
I
plagiarist.
feel like neither of them are really giving each other what they need in a fight.
So Kenpaichi's just the guy that shows up to someone who says that they can't be beaten just because I disagree.
Yeah, fucking, he's fighting this dude named Noitora, and Noitora's like, my skin is the hardest ever. No one's ever been able to cut my skin because I'm so strong. And then Kenpachi's like, hey, here's a fun fact. Did you know if you swing a sword with both hands, it actually does more damage? And then he just slices right through him.
Devastating. Alright, we have... I already know where this one's gonna go. Kurapika versus Dim from Danmachi. Or Danmaki, I don't know. I don't know either of these guys very well.
Yeah, I don't know nothing about this. I mean, Kurapika's cool. I don't know who Dim is.
Yep, we have Magneto versus Accelerator. I don't know Accelerator all that well. Goodbye. We have Chucky versus Slappy.
Yeah, I'm not against this one. I think it could be fun.
I'd really like to see it actually, because it'd be cool to get a slasher, in Death Battle, and I think it's a funny dynamic to have, especially because like they're both like this like killer puppet, but like Child's Play is so much more violent and gross and horrible, and it's just amusing. It's amusing.
Yeah, it's just such a fucking like repulsive and crass series where Goosebumps is such like fucking baby horror. It's so funny.
Yeah. All right, we have Pitu versus Lilith from Darkstalkers.
I mean, I get it, but fucking, I mean, Dark Pit's is a funny character. I like him. Lilith is such a fucking whatever character. I understand a lot of people really like her design. They really like her character, and if you like Lilith, all the power to you. For a death battle, not the most interesting character.
I just don't know either well enough to make a comment myself. We have Heaven Ascension Dio versus... You already know. Based on just saying that, you already know who he's fighting. He's got one matchup.
Infinity Ultron?
Yeah. Like, he's got another one is like he's got one matchup. You already knew what it was going to be the moment I finished saying his name. No comment. I have not bothered with What If, and I only know the anime adaptations of the first 4 parts. That's all I know.
What If is pretty alright. I liked a couple episodes of it, I think. Overall, it was pretty mid. Infinity Ultron's a fine design, but I don't like Ultron that much, especially in the MCU. And then, Heaven Ascension Dio works fine for Eyes of Heaven story and what it is, but, like, a whole death battle about him?
I still like that he exists, because they needed something to get past Golden Experience Requiem, and they were like, let's just like give him the ability that specifically is just saying no to it, and that's him. That's what he does. He sees Golden Experience Requiem and he goes, no, I disagree, and then it just stops being there. We have what looks to be reboot Freddy Krueger versus Pennywise.
Makes sense. I mean, both nonsense.
I'm okay with Freddy versus Pennywise, but the fact that you put the reboot in the thumbnail, that's gonna bump it down to wouldn't mind at best. I don't dislike the match.
Pennywise versus Freddy Krueger's alright. It's neat.
We have All Might versus Koro Sensei. I get it, but
it's cool, but it's like
as amusing as it is that you got one guy that's like a really great teacher and like really bad person who became a better person, and then you've got one who's just like a really great guy but like the worst fucking teacher in history. I mean, at that point, I would say just do All Might versus Shawn Michaels. One person's gonna understand that.
Koro Sensei and All Might, I like them both a whole lot as characters. I don't know if I like this as a matchup very much.
Honestly, like, again, as a DBX, I think this could be neat. Mostly because I think it'd be funny for Koro Sensei to make a tornado and be like, haha, what are you gonna do? And then All Might just kind of punches it. He's like, ah! Hold on! Wait a minute! But it is just kind of amusing that it's like one guy whose whole thing is he's really fast and like weak as shit, and one guy whose whole thing is that he's really fast and also really fucking strong too. That's slightly amusing.
I think it'd be really funny if Koro Sensei went into like his fucking full defense form. He's like, not even a nuclear bomb could scratch this, and then All Might just fucking lobs him across the horizon.
Yeah, he throws him into the Pacific Ocean, then gets into the casket, closes the casket, reburies himself, and puts the stake back in.
Yeah.
Alright, yeah, I'm not a fan, but I get it. I can see the appeal. I can see the appeal. We have Albedo, Evil Ben 10 versus Scourge.
I mean, again, I get it. Well, no, I don't even get it, because like, for them, do you know anything about Albedo?
I'm gonna guess what you said. I'm gonna say no. I'm not knowledgeable on Albedo. I didn't even get his name right when I first said
Albedo, Albedo was Asmith's apprentice while Asmith was working on the Omnitrix. And Albedo was always jealous of Asmith that he wasn't the one. He originally is a gray matter. That's what Albedo looks like by default. Is what gray matter looks like. He was always jealous of Asmith's intelligence and wanted to make his own version of the Omnitrix, but the versions that he made would always end up faulty, and so he ended up getting stuck in the body of Ben 10, but like evil and with white hair and a red jacket, because I guess you need to see visually that he's evil. And so he resents Ben, not only because Ben is the wielder of the Omnitrix, which Albedo really wanted to wield, but he also resents him because he doesn't like being stuck in his body. And then Albedo's actually the one that made the Ultimatrix.
Wow!
And then Scourge, Scourge, for those who don't know, is an evil alternate version of Sonic who killed everyone, who like killed his family or whatever, killed most of the people in his timeline, absorbed the power of the emeralds, and then just went on to fucking be evil. He's also a predator of the
Yeah, I was gonna say
of yeah, like not a very cool person.
the predator of the
All thanks to
fornication
one Ken Penders. Yeah, but he is a green angsty Sonic that is evil. He is literally Sonic from another dimension. So unlike Albedo, who is just trapped in Ben's body and doesn't like him because he's jealous that he doesn't have the Omnitrix, Scourge doesn't like Sonic because, as I understand it, Scourge is upset that he has all of like these friends and this success and all of this power and stuff, despite never having known like the hardships or whatever. It's like, yeah, it's like it's evil Sonic versus evil guy that looks like Ben 10.
Why is the matchup not Albedo versus Goku Black? It just ask.
I genuinely have no idea.
Look, I just don't want to see Scourge. I think Ken Penders doesn't deserve the recognition. But also, I don't know them very well, so I can't really.
Also, one of the big things worth noting is that Albedo explicitly cannot use Alien X. That is like the only alien he explicitly cannot use.
That is part of the appeal I think people have with him, is because with Ben 10 in any matchup, it's never like about what Ben can do. It's always just Alien X, and the appeal that people have with wanting to see Albedo, from what I've noticed, is that it actually like involves fucking aliens beyond the one guy.
But then against an Archie Sonic character?
Yeah, I know. I understand the slight problem. I see this, I can see the issue of putting the guy that really fucking needs Alien X but can't use him against Archie Sonic character. Just Archie Sonic, but mean. Alright, the next matchup we have is Geralt versus Talion. Absolutely. I love this one. I like Geralt a lot.
Seems
I
neat.
really like Talion. I like Geralt more, to be honest, but I like Talion. I think it's really funny that both of the Geralt crossovers that I have seen which are Monster Hunter and Soul Calibur, amount to one day he walked into a portal, showed up in another world, got kind of annoyed about it, fought a thing, and then just left. And that's his whole story in any crossover. Which makes me imagine this fight is really just going to start because he just stumbled through another fucking portal and just happened to run into Talion in the process. I think that's funny.
Pretty funny.
Right, we have Han Solo versus Malcolm Reynolds from Firefly. Big Firefly fan. Big fuck off. Big Firefly fan. Big Malcolm fan. Matchup is cool. I can't put it at the top because Kirk exists and Malcolm doesn't really have much to go on. I wouldn't mind it. It's never happening because it's Firefly. But as the guy here who has seen Firefly, because I'm like 90% sure you haven't, I really like this. I think it's really cool. Okay, we have Jack O versus Android 21.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense. I think it's a neat matchup. I think it's cool.
I would like to know if they could like animate it in 3D in the right style. But I feel like that would be quite difficult to pull off. But I would be okay with this. I feel like more likely they would go with like the 2D sprites and like an extreme Butoden version of Android 21.
Yeah, I can see it.
We have Death the Kid versus, I think it's Panty, or is it Stocking? It's one of them. Fucking a Panty or a Stocking.
It's Stocking.
It's Stocking, okay.
Stocking Anarchy.
Cool. I like Death the Kid a lot, but I can't say I know much about Panty and Stocking.
Stocking's neat. I think this matchup's pretty cool. I like it. I know Soul's a big fan.
We have Arceus versus Filemon from Persona.
Who?
Arceus, man. Jeez.
No, I know who Arceus is. It's Arceus as well, not Arceus.
Oh,
they would not name him Arceus.
Have you never noticed that I like to just say his name in a ton of different ways for no reason?
You mean like how you said Jago wrong?
Why don't you shut your fucking face, man? Right, we have Eren Yeager versus Ken Kaneki.
It's pretty good. I like it.
Yeah. Eren Yeager versus Ken Kaneki. That's how I'm going to say it now. Right, we have Bruno versus Satsuki.
I
just want to know how the fight goes. That's what I want to know.
I mean, it depends. Bruno's a lot faster than Satsuki is, and so by that merit, he could just unzip her. I mean, for an animation, Satsuki cannot perceive sticky fingers in any way, and then gets unzipped. At best, it is a lady with a sword versus a stand user, which isn't inherently impossible to do, but it doesn't lend itself quite the same way that like Chaka versus Polnareff does as a fight. Because Sticky Fingers is all about like either playing at a distance and setting up like zipper traps, or just unzipping someone outright.
Alright. We have Metal Sonic versus Soundwave. They are blue robots. Or sorry, they are blue mechanical beings that are loyal.
I mean, Metal Sonic's not even that loyal.
I mean, nowadays he is. Like, the era of Metal Sonic as a traitor is kind of, like, gone. Now he's more like a son sort of deal to Eggman.
I mean, even that angle's kind of gone now that Eggman just has an actual daughter.
Shut up. I'm trying to be nice to the matchup. No, I don't like it. Fuck it. I don't like it at all. No appeal to me. I understand the appeal, and it doesn't work for me. It just doesn't. Do Metal Sonic versus Galvatron from Age of Extinction. because that's kind of funny.
Do Soundwave versus the Witch King.
Okay, so here's a matchup that it's interesting. I think
Mm-hmm.
the thematic, like, it's not one I've ever thought of. I think thematically I can kind of get it, but when I tell you what it is, you're gonna understand the problem. It's Zuko versus Sub-Zero.
I mean, not only have we already had both of these characters before, but I just don't think that this matchup sounds terribly interesting.
Hmm. It's one of the more interesting ones here because it's not one that I think you're likely to hear anywhere else. Um, I get it. I get like the brother angle, older sibling, well not older sibling, but like I'm trying to remember. It doesn't matter. Sibling is a
I
kind
mean,
of an
my
asshole.
big issue is that like Sub-Zero's really not doing much for Zuko as a matchup that Todoroki doesn't.
No, I guess there's another issue. The thing that like Azul is just kind of batshit insane. Um, Bihan's a good guy who just became an asshole when he was turned, for lack of a better term, when he was turned black by Quan Chi.
Yeah, the greatest Bihan quote when fucking Frost is like, I would have chosen you as a leader over of the Lin Kuei, and then he says, I would not have allowed women in the Lin Kuei. He says, you're worse than Kuai Liang.
I was like that complete 180. Yeah, it's not for me, but like it did make me think for a bit, so I will give it that. We have Aang versus the Traveler from Yuan Shen Impact. I feel like is
Uh,
this the one that Brandon likes?
yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure this is the one Brandon likes. I'm not against it. It
I
seems
think
neat.
it's neat. It would be nice to see Aang come back if they could do it right. Okay, there's
I know that
Papyrus.
I know that there's definitely other like Genshin characters that people want to see first, but I think this matchup's fine.
Yeah, we got Papyrus versus Giovanni Patage from your favorite show, from your favorite
Nope.
creator. You love him though.
Nope. Jello Apocalypse. Jello Apocalypse is a big piece of shit. Don't need to see his stuff here.
Okay, we have Maxwell versus Sackboy. This is really cool. This is
Yeah, this is probably up there. This is probably like a
oh
top
yeah,
20-ish matchup
this
because
is going up the top.
I
This is
fucking I love Scribblenauts. Scribblenauts is one of my favorite game franchises. I'm a big Scribblenauts fan.
yeah. I think it's really cool. I would like to see it. Very loud coded. We have Kaido versus Acnologia.
I like it.
I still think it's cool. It looks like you've come around a bit more to it. I guess you never disliked it though.
I never disliked it. I just don't know Acnologia that well. I've learned about him since. Like I've learned stuff that he does and like what he's like. And I think at the time that I was forming my opinion as well, Wano wasn't over yet, and so I hadn't really like I guess formed my final opinion on Kaido as a
That
character.
was the
But
main thing. Was
now
that
that
you said that Kaido
now
was
that
your
we're past
character.
him, he's fine. He works.
Oh, good. So they're both just okay characters, but it's really just cool because it's a giant Eastern dragon and a giant Western dragon.
Yeah.
All right, we
And
have
they pretty much both exist just to beat the shit out of people.
now. I was hyped to see my guy Shinken Red, but it's not Shinken Red. It's Jaden Sheba versus Randy Cunningham. It's not Mighty Morphin.
Yeah, I mean, I get it. It isn't Mighty Morphin, and that's good. And Samurai was the Power Ranger season that was airing like when I was a child. Like that's probably the one that I grew up on the most. At least like catching it on TV.
I
Um,
have to imagine it would
and
make less sense if it was Shinken Red. Like I have to imagine the
yeah,
high school ninja thing is the big thing here.
Randy Cunningham is definitely a series that I think Death Battle would have a lot of fun covering, especially with how fun they made Danny Phantom and Jake Long. Uh, it feels like one of those series that I'm sure the fans as well would be really excited to see because the Randy Cunningham fandom isn't like terribly big, but they are They are relatively dedicated,
I wouldn't
and
mind that.
I mean, Jaden's fine as far as Red Rangers go. He's okay.
All right, we have Madoka Kaname versus Sailor Moon. I don't really know Madoka well enough to really say.
Not my favorite Sailor Moon matchup, but it's fine. It's serviceable.
Oh, we have Nemesis versus Magician. I mentioned this earlier. I like this one. I think this
Uh,
is just cool.
yeah, this one's real cool. I like Nemesis. Magician seems pretty neat. What I've played of House of the Dead, it seems like it's a series that's just itching for a Resident Evil crossover.
I would like to see DJ edit this if was to happen, because I want to see him. I know he would sneak a reference to me in somewhere. That said, I could also see fucking some asshole trying to make it a handshake reference, in which case, bite me.
More than anything, I really just want a scene in both analyses of the fucking dreadful voice acting in both the Resident Evil and House of the Dead, and like video games, because like it's so bad, but it is so like legendarily bad. It's so funny. It is so funny.
It is. I think it'd be cool to see House of the Dead and Jet. Like, Nemesis cool. Resident Evil, like, Nemesis feels like the most obvious Resident Evil character, especially now that Leon's, like, done with.
Yeah.
House of the Dead, you never hear anyone talk about it anymore. It'd be really cool to see, especially with, like, a fucking weirdo like Magician. Okay, we have Nazo versus, you already know. I've told you it's Nazo, you know who he's fighting.
Is it Zykor?
Okay, you don't know. It's Nazo versus Hyper Metal Sonic, Mecha Sonic.
Oh, okay.
I'm ambivalent.
The dude that made Super Mario Brothers Z is also a big piece of shit.
Right, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, like he's just a real bigot. So
yeah, because I think
don't necessarily need to see
the
it.
appeal to it beforehand was the thought that they might be able to get him. I guess I don't think he ever would have, but it would have been neat. But now, like, that appeal's gone. Ooh, we have Ninja Turtles versus Ninjago here. Hold on, I just noticed that. Oh, baby, let's go. I really like this one. I don't care what you say. Unless you're supporting me.
What do you mean you just noticed it? You picked it for the tier list and you put it on here. What do you mean you just noticed it?
I blocked this out of my mind so I would forget as much as I could for the video.
Wow.
The only thing that I really remembered was on here was Cougar versus Tiga, and Decade versus Gokai Red, because that's like Kamen Rider is all I've been thinking of recently. I like Ninja Turtles, Ninjago. I think it's a cool
the Toku brain rot is so real. The Toku brain rot is an overwhelming thing.
Yes, it's infecting you too. Just the other sibling. But I like Ninja Turtles Ninjago a lot. I think it's fun. I think if they could do it in like Lego style and it's like using the Lego Ninja Turtles that exist, that would be kind of neat, honestly. If they just like, I feel like that's how you'd have to do it, and it would work for me. I think it'd be neat. Yeah, and of course if you use like Rise and like some of the more like,
let's go.
Okay. We have Envy from Full Metal Alchemist versus Shang Tsung. So this is like a multiversal character against a Full Metal Alchemist character. I'll just say that off
yeah. Like I get the idea, but I don't think this sounds like that interesting of a fight.
I guess I either put it in don't know. The only Full Metal Alchemist matchup I can put at the top is the funny one. So yeah. Alright, we have Travis Touchdown.
Because it's like
okay.
Yeah, no, because it's like I mean I get the angle of like I get the angle of like being like deceitful like shapeshifters and all. But if I recall correctly, Envy's defeat came at the hand of a dude just like snapping like little fireballs at him. Shang Tsung is one of the most powerful sorcerers in, or possibly the most powerful sorcerer in Mortal Kombat, and has access to not only ample fire magic, but it could also just rip his soul out. And I don't think Envy could do much about it.
I've come around to Shang Tsung versus Kefka. I think that would be neat. I don't know what Envy can do to really match up here.
Shapeshift.
Okay. There is Travis Touchdown versus Gintoki. It's neat. It's not what I would go for either, though. I think, like, either Gintoki versus Deadpool or the significantly funnier option of Gintoki versus Psyche would be the go-to.
I think Gintoki versus Psyche is really funny.
Because I want to do Psyche Medaka myself, so don't do it for Death Bell, because then mine will look worse. So do Gintoki Psyche, and just have them constantly beefing in the fight, and then just have Psyche fucking kill him with like instantaneously once he gets annoyed, because that's just how it would go. And Gintoki just keeps escaping his power by complete bullshit circumstance. Like Psyche's
I
about
fucking
to
love
kill
the
him.
difference in their movesets in J-Stars, where it's like Psyche's got all of his like weird psychic powers and shit, and then Gintoki just like rides around on his moped, throws bottles of soy sauce at people, and pretends to do a Kamehameha, and then sometimes it just works for some reason.
Yeah, that's hilarious. He's like, what the? He did not expect it to work. That's the best part.
Yeah, and
He's
then I
just
love that they
surprised.
have fucking Shunpachi commentating the whole time. He's like, "Wait, what the fuck? You actually did it?"
Yeah,
He's
I
like,
know.
"How? How did you do that?"
That said, he's not very fun to actually play because his moveset's not good. But then Psyche's not very fun to play either because
No,
his
it's
moveset's
it's
just
very
really boring.
strange.
Like Psyche's moveset is just keep away, and like yeah, it works, but he's annoying as hell to fight. But like I just don't enjoy playing.
I thought
Psyche.
Joseph was pretty fun to play as.
Joseph's
I like
pretty
playing
fun,
as Joseph. I like playing as Toriko was pretty fun.
It'll say a lot that my
Luffy
favorites
was
to do
alright.
were Suna and Seiya, whose whole thing is run in, slaughter. I'm best with Aizen, strangely enough, but I think Aizen might just be broken in that case because I think I accidentally TOD'd someone. Like,
Yeah, it's very possible.
because the game is like the appeal to the game is not that it's good. If it was less janky, it would probably be less fun.
Yeah, the appeal to the game is it's like, look, you can have Goku beat up fucking
Taro
Jonathan Joestar.
or Jonathan. All right, we have Makoto Yuki versus Neku Sekuraba. I've got Persona 3 Reload
That's
and The World Ends With You, so I'll play them and then I'll form my opinion, I think.
That's a matchup I could get behind. I know the World Ends With You fans are pretty cool typically, and they really like their game. I'm sure it's good. I haven't played it.
Okay.
And once again, Persona 3 is pretty based.
So this might be the most excuse me matchup on here. We've not had a single Beyblade character, you know? And like you'd think when you're gonna get a Beyblade on this list, you think it's gonna be Dan versus Jinga. That would be cool. Or
Hey, baby, it's gonna be Benkei.
Maybe some smartass is gonna do Tai versus Jinga. Like, who wins? Or Tai versus Ryuga. Who wins between like character from the OG versus character from the more popular second go? Or maybe Ryuga versus Tai Lung to try and get into my good graces. Maybe they have good taste and they do Marek versus Rago. Or maybe they fucking blindside you with Jet the Hawk versus Masamune Kadoya.
Fucking. I mean, I get the vibe. I understand the vibe.
I'm not
I can
against
comprehend
this.
it, but
like conceptually, it's like
But what are you cooking, bro?
It
what
would
the,
be
what
hilarious
is
to see Jet on his little fucking like hoverboard, and then Masamune is just running and keeping up anyway, like he did on the Great Wall. He's just running as fast, and Jet's like, "Wait, no, hold on, excuse me." Or he's fucking like just standing one leg on his bay as it flies forward. I get it. I understand. They are green. They are asshole. They are the rival guy that gets dropped immediately in favor of the actual rivals. They do extreme sports. Technically, you could say that is a fucking connection. Animal. Striker is a unicorn, and Jet. He's not called Jet the Hawk because he's a fucking water bottle. I'll tell you that much. Now, if it was Wave the Albatross versus Benkei.
Storm the Albatross.
Sorry,
Wave
Storm
is
the
a
Albatross.
swallow.
Wave is the swallow. Storm the Albatross. The Albatross versus Benkei.
Hell yeah.
You know what? I'm not even gonna put this in the. I think I'm gonna put this in Wouldn't Mind, just because. In what world is that gonna happen? In what world? It would be the funniest.
It should be Benkei versus Uchi Black from Q Ranger because they have the Taurus constellation. I think I could be wrong.
Benkei versus Magi Green.
Yeah.
All right, we have bottom three, in terms of the last three, not the worst three. Eric Cartman versus Bart Simpson. Very max coded, extremely max coded. I think.
Very max coded. I get it, but it's not a matchup I have a lot of personal stake in.
I'm kind of ambivalent on this one. We have Wing Zero versus Ava Unit 1. We said our piece. I think this is just cool. Look, it's the big angel robot.
It's pretty,
and the other
pretty base, pretty
big
cool.
angel
I like
robot
it.
that looks like a fucking horrific monster. That's the matchup, and it's neat. And then there is Kamala Khan versus Deku.
I like it. It's pretty based. I like it a whole lot, especially now that I'm caught up on My Hero. I need to get caught up on Kamala. I haven't been keeping up with the new run. I only read the first 2 issues.
Honestly, given what the fans are saying, you don't have to get caught up. You actually don't have to. Like, you're not legally contractually obligated to.
Nah, I gotta. You don't understand. It's part of my contract.
You're correct. I didn't understand that because that sounds like you pulled it straight out of your ass.
Yeah, like half the stuff you say.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's the tier list, everyone. You can see it again. Anything in the bottom. If you're a fan, if this is your most wanted, that's A-okay. That's fine. I shouldn't need to say this.
But remember, your opinions are only valid if they agree with me. They can disagree with them, that's fine. But if they disagree with me, then they're wrong.
If it comes from me.
If your opinion comes from him and it disagrees with me, you're wrong.
If it disagrees with Donovan, your opinion is probably correct. Unless, of course, I agree with him.
That's the video.
Alright, goodbye, everyone. Sod off. Well, we will do a people's least favorite, but that'll take longer. No, it won't. No, it won't. But, you know.